talking in my sleep at night, making myself crazy. Out of my mind, out of my mind. Wrote it down and read it out, hoping it would save me. Too many times, too many times. My love, he makes me feel like nobody else, nobody else. But my love, he doesn't love me, so I tell myself, one, don't pick up the phone, you know he's only calling cause he's drunk and alone. Two, don't let him in, you have to kick him out again. Three, don't be his friend, you know you're gonna wake up in his bed in the morning. And if you're under him, you ain't getting over him. I got no rules, I count him. Pushing forwards, but he keeps pulling me backwards. Nowhere to turn, nowhere to turn. No. Now I'm standing back from it, I finally see the pattern. I never loved, but my love, he doesn't love me, so I tell myself, I do. One, don't pick up the phone, you know he's only calling cause he's drunk and alone. Two, don't let him in, you have to kick him out again. Three, don't be his friend, you know you're gonna wake up in his bed in the morning. And if you're under him, you ain't getting over him. I got no rules, I count him. I got no rules, I count him. I gotta do it for myself. I got no rules, I count him. I gotta do it for myself.
My rover counter goes swah 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 swah
Don't pick up the phone, you know he's only calling cause he's drunk and alone. Don't let him in, you have to kick him out again. Three, don't be his friend, you know you're gonna wake up in his bed in the morning. And if you're under him, you ain't getting over him. I got no rules, I count him. I got no rules, I count him. I gotta do it for myself. I got no rules, I count him. Baby, you know I count him. I gotta do it for myself. You getting over him. All of these eyes and all
Right
of these
magnifying glass
flaws
emoji.
don't
Left
keep me
magnifying glass emoji.
company.
Right magnifying glass emoji.
I've
Left
been breathing
magnifying
your
glass
air
emoji. Right
and
magnifying
drinking you
glass emoji.
down.
Left
You're the
magnifying glass
only
emoji.
remedy.
Right magnifying glass emoji. Left magnifying
Say you're
glass
gonna hold
emoji.
my
Right
hand.
magnifying glass
Say you're gonna
emoji.
break my
Left
fall.
magnifying glass
Say you're
emoji.
gonna stay
Right magnifying
forever.
glass emoji.
Baby, this is
Left
all I
magnifying
want,
glass
'cause
emoji.
all
Right magnifying glass
my
emoji. Left
love
magnifying
I'll
glass
beg
emoji. Right
for you.
magnifying glass
Beg
emoji. Left magnifying
for
glass
your
emoji. Right magnifying glass emoji. Left magnifying glass
I'll
emoji. Right magnifying glass emoji. Left magnifying glass 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 emoji. Right magnifying glass emoji. Left magnifying magnifying glass emoji, right magnifying glass emoji, left magnifying glass emoji, right magnifying glass emoji, left magnifying glass emoji, right magnifying glass emoji, left magnifying glass emoji, right magnifying glass emoji.
Oh my god, I was too busy vibing to the song and then I realized it's been like 6 minutes and I was just like, hey, cause hello. I was just vibing so hard and then I was like, hang on, shit, it's been almost 2 songs, my bad dog. The vibes were vibing, hello. How is everyone? Nice to see you all. Turn up, we were turned up apart from the fucking magnifying glasses. So anyways, oh, okay, just leave me behind. Hi, Glix, how are you? Nice to see you. Hi, Beth. Hi, Timothy. Hi, Armin. I'm gonna call you that from now on. Armin. Beth, congrats on first. Hi, Jason. Hi, Avery. Congrats on actual first. Artemis, hello. There's all this bloody copy pasta nonsense. I hope everyone's doing good. Hi, UHD. Fuck my chungus Paralive, bro. Paramore? Hi, Clicks. DJ Janelle stream. Oh, man, I need to keep learning that. Hi, B. Streaking for 50? Let's go. Oh, okay. True. Now, okay, we sung happy birthday during crowd control hours, but hang on.
It's your birthday today. It's your birthday today. Let's celebrate. You lose control and you cut the cake. Tonight is your destiny. Wait, so share toast with your closest mates. It's your birthday today. It's your birthday today.
I reckon I'm gonna have this song memorized by the end of the year. I'll see what I'm watching.
Blow out your candles!
Boo! That's great. That's great. I live for that. Welcome in, gamers, to another stream where I might go for 6 hours. We'll see where the tide takes us. If you are just joining and you want to help us out, if you want to interact in any way you want, you can just like it if you want. But if you want to post a meme under it, you want to repost it, that'd be lovely on those posts, because I'm trying to hit partner. We need one more stream at 75 for the month. And then we can move on to the next stage. We need one more. Just one. Which is pretty neato. The other thing I want to point in your the other thing I want to point in your direction is I've posted my first Paralives VOD on YouTube. I'm trying to get my watch hours up. Hey Sasha, what's good? One. How's it going? Icon? I started if you're at all bored, or you're looking for background noise, or you just want to chuck me up in the background to get those watch hours up, because I don't need the subs. You don't have to sub to me if you don't want to. I've already got the subs. But I do need the watch hours in order to get YouTube partner. And then I can monetize even my little silly shorts, because that's what I mainly post there. But the shorts requirement is insane for watch hours. Quite rightly, obviously. Yeah, so, yeah. Well, people are still going to be watching the video if they click the link, though. I didn't quite understand that. Anyways, Jasteria live streams also count. I know. The last time I dual streamed it was to TikTok, and I suffered immense lag and frame drops a lot of the time and disconnects, and I'm a bit wary about dual streaming. Yeah, so that's why I don't dual stream at the moment, because I'm a little bit. No, I think I can. I was doing it to TikTok. I was streaming OBS's virtual cam to TikTok Live Studio, and that could have also been a thing. But it still requires it requires a shit ton of bandwidth to stream to two platforms. And even then, streaming to TikTok probably doesn't take as much resources as what streaming to YouTube would take, in my unqualified opinion. I don't know how that works. I have enough subs for like a decade at this point, but only once for like 6 months to every year qualified. Wait. I've had enough subs for like a decade at this point, but have only once for like 6 months to a year ever qualified for partner from watch hours. It's hard. And the shorts, I post shorts so much more. I mean, I didn't even get, that's the thing. I didn't even get TikTok viewers. TikTok kind of like is weird. I didn't even get the view. I was always streaming to nobody or myself or one person. So it wasn't worth it to me to keep streaming on YouTube when it was tanking like my Twitch stream. The shorts requirements are nuts. They are, I think it's like, hang on, I'll tell you, because I don't want to get it wrong, but they are nuts. Again, I think linking the video and people clicking the video and watching the video through is still watch hours. I don't quite, again, I don't understand what this, okay. Okay. That just sounds like a conspiracy theory that may have worked for like 3 people. Anyways, where is it? I'm actually really close to the not YouTube partner, but the one under it for earning on my shorts. I need 800,000 more public shorts views so I'm at 2.2 million out of 3 million. I need 800,000 more, which is kind of fun. But yeah, the watch hours for shorts is 10 million. 10 million valid public shorts views in the last 90 days. And I was like, okay, well, we're not getting that. So I guess I'll start uploading my VODs because it's 4,000 hours. Yeah, 4,000 hours. It's actually insane behavior. Yeah, so that's fun. You know, all that. Anyways. Welcome in. Are you ready for another Paralives, Parachungus life? Please play Paralives. I'm firing her up. Now, hopefully these mods have worked. I've installed a couple. Although in saying that, we're not going to look at one because it's to do with, like, the meeples eyelashes that I just saw on the front page and was like, oh, that's cute. I'll install that. Apparently it's meant to be easy to get YouTube Shorts views, but assuming that all the brain rot slot people upload that does well. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's it. Hi, Alpaca, how are you? Oh, the VOD player here is not great. And also, for ease of everything, I've actually time-stamped my VOD. I've time-stamped my VOD to the intro, the playing gameplay and then building, which I think is quite nice. I think that's quite nice of me to do that, mind you. Anyways, let's play some Paralives. We're gonna finish the house that we were working on last night. Very nice, very considerate, very different, very unusual. I get ridiculous number of ads on Twitch VODs too, so I def will watch YouTube video VODs. Yeah, well, there you go. There you go. Hi, Iconic! How's it going? My day's been good. It's been kind of busy, but it's been good. How's yours? I didn't get to sleep till kind of late last night because it's what happens. I'm like tired and then I move to bed and then I'm like until like 11:30, 12, and then I had to be up early for a work meeting this morning and I was just like, oh, I'm so sleepy. Oh, thank you for the lurk. Enjoy work. Hopefully it's okay. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's been good though. How's your day been? So if you weren't here, look at the stairs. If you weren't here yesterday, this is the house. This is a brand new from scratch build we made. And I'm wrestling with the stairs. They're still broken. Okay, good to know. Okay, the stairs are still broken. That's fine. But this is kind of where we're at. I need to change the time of day because absolutely no way. Okay. So I made this cute little entryway. And we're kind of going with earth tones. Now, I thought I made this like that. That's right. Oh. Can I delete that? Yeah, get it out of here. I think what I'm going to do. Oh, I need to move that out a little bit. Where the hell did my... So what has happened with the stairs is that they're broken. Okay, yeah, the stairs are broken. I've heard that the stairs, other people are having... What? Why won't that... Thank you. That's what I wanted. I messed up the tile. Where's the tile gone? As a wall... Yeah, I was doing earth tones. Have you done much in yellow yet? No, I've not used a lot of yellow other than the couch. And that chair. Oh, it's more orangey to be fair, but yeah. I haven't used a lot. I'm going to... Was it this one? Yeah. Put that back like that, and then I'm gonna move this. Oh, just you wait till we mess with this kitchen clutter. You're gonna lose your goddamn minds. You're gonna lose your goddamn minds. Perfect. Maybe I do. You know what's stupid? Maybe I do want that tiled the whole way through. I just don't know. Maybe I do. Maybe I do like that. That's fine. Okay. Anyways, we're gonna finish up in here. I've got to add a few more. Well, I don't have to add more windows. I don't think really. I could add another window behind there, to be fair. Yeah, maybe I will do that. Far from the wall, are we? About there, really, in reality. I promise once we're done this, we'll get onto this floor. I'm really excited to try this floor plan thing. I'm excited. I'm excited. Neat. I think what I'm gonna do is maybe blinds in here. I just don't know what color to do them. Or maybe, let me just grab this color. This might be too much, but I'm gonna give it a go. Too much. Too much. What about like a black? Is that gonna look weird? Or like, what about a dark? Wait, what about a brown? Shortest look. Welcome back. Welcome back. Okay. Work did not happen. Oh, man. Maybe that is the play. You know what? Maybe that is the play. Told someone for something, they had to go to another meeting. Oh, unbelievable. Unbelievable. Anyways. I'm still sniffly from burning my eyes, burning my retinas into that screen playing Bubsy just before. I'm like... right, I'm gonna do one more picture here as well. I don't know what oh my god, can I put the cat? Maybe I'm gonna do the cats. This is why I work in IT, get to watch Twitch. Now it comes out. Now it comes out. Hi Tara! You made a custom Leon body pillow in this game. It took me like an hour. Can you drop the link to the workshop? Can you drop the link to that workshop? For science? For science? Can you do that real quick? Just for science. Take it easy. Relax on the way. Where's that one that's like lift, eat big, lift big, do big comes? Where is it? This one. Run, squat, lift, never lift, burn, never give up. This is so funny. I cannot have that in there. That's disgusting. Yeah, Tara's doing the people's work. I kind of live for that. Oh, that's cute actually. I like that. Thank you for the look. I want to draw a proper one, but I threw on a screenshot for now. I think I have a screenshot. I want to see it. I want to see it. Are you kidding me? Let's do this. I don't have like a lot of... Hello? There we go. That's weird. Like a lot of artwork going on around here. Okay, I need y'all. Hi, Amber. How are you, Diva? I want to see that. I want to see that bloody Leon body pillow. Can you make me a Waluigi one, please? I mean, can you... Yeah, please. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Kitchen clutter. That's what we want. Now look at all this. Now y'all know, right? Y'all know that The Sims lets you put like one or maybe two things on a cabinet. Just you wait. Just you bloody wait until I show you everything you can do in this game. Everything that you can put onto the counter in this game. You will lose your damn mind. I'm trying to find the oil. Where's the oil? Is that a Jack Daniels? Oh, thank you! 5 million rolling... You don't have to tell me twice. Where's the rolling pins? Where's the rolling pins? Where are they? Where is it? Oh, there it is. You see what I mean, though? You can literally just keep... You can put it over the middle as well. You don't need to... You don't need to have it... You don't need to have it, like, directly in the middle of a counter or anything. It's crazy. Like, it's actually insane behavior. I'll have you know. I'll have you know. Put that up there. That's crazy. I haven't done that. Where's a fruit bowl? Look at this. Actually, I like that bowl color. That's cute. Look at that. It's just like, again, we just didn't know how bad we had it. We didn't know. And that's okay. We know now. Hey Mikudi, how you doing? Nice to see you. Hello? Hello? Where is the oil? I'm sure there is an oil. I saw it before. But now my brain's glazing over everything. Milk. Good. Oil. It's like soda. Oil! There we go. You get like, oh, then you get like this. Look at that. Look at that! We're still working on, yeah, we are. It's on what? It's on the minion. You got Dairy Queen? Ooh. I put it in games. I can do Waluigi, but I could probably also give the steps. Oh, that'd be lovely. You could, do you know what you could do? You could make your own like custom, like you could make a body pillow that's a custom body pillow. Fire. That looks great. That looks great. Look at this. Look at this. Amazing, right? It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Anyways. Oh. It's where Ada goes. Can you put a different image on the back? Yeah. You could have a Resident Evil reversible body pillow. Oh, we can. coffee. Oh, that's right. I've made an island. Okay. You could do like little tea and coffee and sugar jars here. I guess. They kind of look out in the open. Oh, why is my chat broken? Hello? But when I tried the placeholder, it wouldn't wrap around. But I plan to mess with it some more. Hi! Hi, Amber! Anyways. One to pick up the phone. No, he's on a go. It almost didn't look like they were lined up, and that would have sent me into psychosis a little bit. Anyways, that's all looking good. We probably need. Oh, I have to put the lighting in as well. The lighting is stressful to me. Like the ceiling lighting is stressful because it's free reign. So I just. Oh, I haven't tried it grid mode. I wonder if I could. I wonder if grid mode would actually be the play there, to be fair. Yeah, the island kind of restricts things a little bit.
A cheer.
I can't stop drinking oil.
Okay.
I can't stop drinking oil. I just can't stop. I can't stop drinking crude oil. You know the black stuff that comes in barrels? I can't stop drinking it. I just can't. It's tantalizing.
What was I
It's
doing? Oh,
addicting. It
appliances.
is.
My brain.
A delicacy. I love it. I can't stop
Coffee
drinking
machine. Coffee machine. Oh, but yeah. Yeah, look at that. It's so cute. Why'd that look kind of... Okay, from like one little glimpse, this looked like the Capcom logo, and I was like, huh? Yeah. Okay. Hey 2K. Starting a new Twitch account, what are some tips you would give me? Don't self-promote. Unless the streamer has given you permission to self-promote. Find your niche. Unless you want to play variety, but if you have a niche, I wouldn't... Unless you want to play Fortnite, even though everyone else streams Fortnite, I wouldn't stream Fortnite. Unless it's for funsies. But if you're wanting to grow, Fortnite might not help you when you're first starting out, is what I'm trying to say, because it's a really oversaturated category. Post when you go live. Share if you, this is if you're streaming, to be fair.
A follow.
If you're streaming, post that you're going live on other socials and maybe share your stream with your friends who might be around to hang out with you. Yeah. It's kind of what I would do. Thank you for the follow. Welcome in. I hope you're well. Thank you so much. Yeah. That's what I got. Amber? Amber? Want to chime in? I don't really need a microwave. Because I've made this like an actual island, I kind of want this to be kept pretty clean. Yeah. Oh, I did this. I've done something here. I was like, why is that different patterning? There we go. I think I did that and then forgot to do it for the rest, so I'm just going to do that instead and hope for the best. Okay. Now, I really want to have a light that, you know, is a nice little feature. Oh, this could be good. Didn't I put one of these somewhere? Oh, no. Maybe this one. This could be good. I actually just really like that color, too. Now, if I grid, did that help at all? No, it's like literally free reign. That's crazy. But it's cute. I'm going to put that in the bedroom as well, I think. But yeah, I am nervous about lighting in general in this game because there's no way to snap it so that it's all the same, if that makes sense. So if you go to like a saucer light, look at this. It's just like you can go anywhere. And even if I press the grid, it's not locking, like it's not snapping anything. Just kind of crazy. So I just got to do my best, I guess, of hoping that I can have this like somewhat even. Yeah, okay, put that there. Close enough, right? Close enough. Close enough. Do you think she can get up into her house? Let's see. Even with the stairs broken? Why are you in? How do I get you to change into your everyday outfit? Like, why are you in that outfit? Okay, well, she got up the stairs, so that's good. How do the lights turn on? How do I? Oh, okay. Oh, the lighting's like real. Oh, the lighting's interesting. It's real. They're like full-on spotlights. What is this? This is not like The Sims in terms of lighting. That's crazy. Why are you walking? Are you okay? You seem sad. How do I get you to change? Oh. No. How do I get you to change? Do I have to click this maybe? Yes. Yes. I figured it out. I figured it out. I obviously haven't done anything to the outside of this house yet either, but I think what I'll do is... There we go. Look at her. She's so cute. Oh, I did make her gloomy. You're right. You're right. Streaking for 10. Congrats. Jason, how do you feel? Yeah. Buy an item from the decor category. Eat a snack. Watch TV. Be alone for 1 hour. Easy. Easy. What is this? Oh, this is her. Okay, so she's got to cook a meal. We can do that. Frozen ham pizza. Go on. Go on. We'll do that. It's fine. It sounds like, oh, thank you. Thank you. I just am a bit weirded out. Do I have to put like a shit ton of lights in for it to not look like this? I'm so like Sims pilled that I would expect that the amount of lights I put in to like brighten up the whole house. Oh, hi Sasha. You okay? You alright? You good? It feels like a bug. This feels like a bug. Do you think it is? It's pretty funny though. It's just all these spotlights in her houses. In her houses? Her multiple houses in her house. That is uneven, but that's okay. Whatever. It doesn't matter too much. It doesn't matter too much. I am very fearful of like placing lighting. Real light definitely diffuses more. Okay. Good to know. Can you test another light option just to check if it's the lamp? Oh yeah, that's true. Let's try that. No, that's a spotlight. That's a spotlight. That's a spotlight. That's also a spotlight. A spotlight. A spotlight. Eating pizza, she's just like rolling for real. Rolling behavior, TBH. Oh, she fulfilled her want. Oh, this is the mod I added, by the way. I added this as well. It changes all the emotions to not just the same color. So you can, like, it's just a nice little quick differentiator. So when you're scrolling through them, which I quite like. Again, not that I am playing, like, a lot of... His ears will be... Jesus Christ, it's dark outside. It's 1 p.m. and it's so dark outside. Oh my god. Okay. Well, hi, Roland. His ears were burning. It's either his ears were burning or he did hear the word pizza and went... Did someone say pizza? Is she going to sleep? Wait, where'd she go? She's having a shower. Okay, the shower works. The system works. Good to know. She can get in there. She can do all of it. Like both. Yeah. Weather's been arsehole weird. It's been kind of weird here. We're expecting a storm. Okay. That sucks. That sucks. Auckland was all... no, sorry. My brain. You're got the same colour as Jimothy that I thought you were Jimothy for a second. I was about to be like, Auckland always is raining. You're expecting a storm. We're like, no docs, but like, whereabouts... You don't even have to say your state. Like, whereabouts are you located? Are you in the place that gets a lot of storms? Okay, well, maybe we'll try... If that mod's gone through, hopefully my custom rug mod has gone through, and maybe we'll try make a house off of a floor plan. Rug. Custom rug! There it is! There it is! Okay, the system works. All right, let's save and we'll go do that. I'll do the outside of that house another day. I'll do the outside of that house another day. Okay, create new household. Oh my god, this outfit. Work diva. Northern Minnesota, not usually, but we need the rain. Oh, we're kind of the same. We kind of... Oh, we kind of, What? That person was just straight up naked and bald. I want a girly. I love the girlies. She's cute! She's kind of wearing a similar outfit to the first girl I made, but she's cute. She cute. I'm gonna give it... That is not a formal outfit, honey. We have to change this. We have to change this real quick. It was sunny as hell. It reached 31 here. Isn't there like a heat wave going on there or something? Or am I tripping on that? I could be completely talking out of my ass. It was so dark here because it rained, but I still had to turn my AC on. It's not even like raining, I don't think, here. But also I can't really tell because my windows need to clean. Desperately. You're under a wildfire? Jeez. Okay. That's a bit spooky. That's a bit spooky. Dresses. Oh, I reckon. Let me see the colours on these. Oh, that's cute. Let's do that. I'm just giving her like an actual formal outfit because they're allergic to giving actual formal outfits in the like Jester shoes. You can have clown shoes. Yes, I did see that. Kia, that's really good. You can have clown shoes. I guess I have to make a clown at some point then, right? Could be good. Or is that just this? Oh, it's just that. Get rid of that. Oh, what the? Hello? That's fair. You know what? That's fine. That's fine. Randomize. Samantha Clark. Done. Oh, I don't really... That's kind of... Hi, Yeti. How are you? Nice to see you. Already was kind of a fun last name. Nova. Scarlet Nova was kind of lit. Diamond Nova. Tilda Swinton? Tilda Swinton? Iris Nova. That's cute. Like it. I like it. I like it. Serious. Good at taking care of others. I'm just making them a little bit different from each other. Jack of all trades. I reckon that's a good one. Oh, food. JK food. JK. JK. Alright. Okay, here's the sitch. We're gonna find another, maybe here. Let's do this one. We're gonna find another blank lot, and we're going to use the custom rug mod, and we're gonna put a floor plan down. We're gonna put a floor plan down, and we're gonna try and build the floor plan. Right. One moment. We're just gonna like, yes, it's cute and everything, but we'll do that afterwards. Same with like, oh, the shrubs can probably actually stay, to be fair. But okay, here's what we've done. Where is it? It's under rugs. Okay, here we go. Let's put that in, right? No. Absolutely not. And then I've made, you now have to do your job. Good news, I can do my job now because my ticket got resolved. Bad news, I have to do my job. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Look at this bad boy. You see this? I actually can't tell from here. I need to like make it bigger because my brain is, there we go. So what the hell is this? Is this feet? Does this put this in feet? I don't know how to get it to... This is the hack! This is the hack! How cool is this? So I found this house on some architect website, I don't know. The thing is though, is I built, this has got it in meters, right? Yeah. Okay. So the T is, oh, that's not. No, piss off. Oh, you just can't. Okay, this is interesting. I want to see the... Oh, whoops. Okay, whatever. Oh man, it's like on an angle, but I can't make it not on an angle. Like that. I don't know. Anyways. It's cool, right? But I now need to... Can I change it to being in feet? Let's see. Doesn't... Maybe not. I saw someone playing in... Maybe it's based on the region. Maybe it's based on the region. The reason I say that is because freedom units versus metric. Interesting. Let's see. Oh, hang on. Here we go. Here we go. Bananas. Let me see this. Holy shit. Holy shit. You can measure in bananas. Oh yeah, so we'll make the kitchen about 20 bananas long. That sounds lit. Okay, good. That's really funny. Anyways, okay, I found the setting that I need. I found the setting. So I think, is Imperial in feet? Let's find out. Not that I really want to be in this, but yeah, there we go. 13. There you go. No, piss off. Oh no, that's 13 that way. Actually, it's very open plan. Maybe I need to do like an actual room. Maybe I'll do the bedroom. Just to figure out where I'm at. But that's got to be 8.4 and that's got to be 10, right? What is this? Oh, that's the foyer? I'm really confused by this shaping, to be fair. I assume that is... Oh, it's going to take me out of the lot! Assume that it's that way. Yeah, it's got to be that way, right? 10. What is 10? Is that 10.1? Must be. That doesn't seem right. It's only like... I'm confused. Because basically what I need to do... This looks like... This is feet, right? This is footage, right? That just doesn't seem right. Because if I go 10 point... Unless it's supposed to be 10... Because when I did 10, it's like that short. Which doesn't seem right. Can I not move this? Rude. Rude! Yeah, I know. But that's for a wall. That's the long. That's the long of that bedroom. That is how long it is. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense at all. I'm a bit confused. Because basically what I have to do is I have to... Hi, Kay. How are you? Nice to see you. The reason I asked that is because I have to basically make one that's 8 foot by 10 foot. And then I resize the rug to it. And that's how we go with the building. Is what I'm saying. But also now I can't move a wall once I've placed it. Is what I'm also figuring out. So... I'm confused. I'm confused. The only other thing is, do we resize this and say fuck it and just try and build over the top of it? We use metric. What would Lil Simsy do with this? I don't know. Be better than me. I'm changing this back because fuck Imperial. What if I do this? What if I... So here's the thing, right? I've done all that, right? I just found the bananas before. It's really funny. And I assume that's a window, right? Window? I'm like, do I just do this? It's the fact that... What is going on? What is going on? I was trying to snap and I don't like it. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. Please don't do that! Stop! Ah! I'm cooking. It's the fact that when it said 10 feet, that's what I was confused about. That's what I was confused about, was the 10 footage, because it was definitely not 10 feet. Oh, god damn it, I did this wrong. Oh my god, I did that wrong too. That's on an angle. God, this is hard. This is hard! to like have it trying to snap as well. It's just right. Oh, here we go. Here's the angle we want. 90. There we go. Thank you, Diva. Thanks, video game. Oh my god. Oh my god. No, I've just got to press the Alt key, and it's really hard to get it right when you're pressing the Alt key because it angles out if I'm not careful. So it's currently at 91. There we go. Now it's at 90. It's just tricky, that's all. It's just getting used to it. There you go. Fuck me. Okay, look. There we go. We did it. We did it, but at what cost, you know? Anyways. There we go. Look at that. Okay, Slay. What is this? What is this? What is this thing? Oh, that's an... Okay, there's an arch there, so we'll go right the way there. I don't know what this is, but pop off, I guess. That's a cupboard. That's a cupboard. Okay. Oh my god. Okay. One moment. What the hell? What the hell? That was weird. Hi Jay, how are you? Oh look, I'm struggling. I'm struggling so hard. Losing my damn mind. Okay. 90. Hello. Hello? Okay. Why? No, because that's... Oh no, that is right. It didn't look like it was connected. That's... I just got a little bit confused. And then, what the hell is this? Oh, I see. I see, I see. Don't worry. Woman loses mind in real time, live on stream. It's fine. It's fine. We got there. Okay, and then the rest of it's pretty open plan. Other than there's stairs going there. So let's put those in real quick. The rainbow ring pop is so tea. Oh, yeah, the little sub badge. Thanks. Thank you. Appreciate it. I'm just gonna... Can I replace stairs once I've put them in? I'm just gonna use these for now. If that makes sense. So, what I'm led to believe is there's stairs technically here, but maybe we'll ignore that. Maybe we'll ignore that. Oh, wait, I just realized... Do you know what I just realized, chat? I think I saved one floor plan, but not the upstairs one. No, Becca! Okay, so you can... Okay, so there's a mod. There's a... Hello. There's a mod where you can put custom rugs down, and then you can upload whatever photo you want. So I could make a giant Hatsune Miku taking a shit, or, you know, this. And so you can get actual floor plans. It's not a hack, it's a mod. It's a mod. Which is pretty neat. So my problem is, though, if I make this patio, right, I'm gonna end up... It's so cool! I'm living. Okay, so maybe we'll just... This looks cute. Okay, maybe we'll just do... Maybe we'll just improvise upstairs. Because I didn't save the other upstairs image. I'm dumb. What was that thing yesterday? I may be stupid, but I'm also dumb. It's that thing. It's that. Okay, so we want to go up a couple of things. We're winging it, we're winging it. Sex dungeon upstairs. You'd like that, wouldn't you? You'd like that, wouldn't you? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, cute. Alright, we're vibing. We're vibing. And then, oh, I haven't done the patio yet. That's okay. That's okay. I'll wing it. I'll wing it. It's fine. I reckon we're gonna go like... like there. Oh no, what have I done? I've done like a weird angled thing maybe. Oh no. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. We're making it work. This may come back to bite me in the ass later, but that's okay. So Becca, how are you? I hope you're doing okay. Now this is cute. This is cute. This is cute. I like it. I like it. I like it. I feel like following a build makes you so much better at building. It's a nice little hack to have. It feels like I'm cheating though a little bit. Okay, the stairs also, I think, seemingly... Oh. I might have to place the stairs somewhere else because there's an archway here and I think because... The reason I'm saying that is because I think what's going to happen is the stairs are going to conflict with an archway in a second. That's what I'm predicting is going to happen. There's an archway here, and then there's a door. I need to bring back that map. I need to bring... Hang on. One moment. I don't know why I got rid of it. That was silly, wasn't it?
A raid.
Kelly! Hi Metroid, how are you? Nice to see you. Hi Kelly! Hi Diva, how you doing? Nice to see you. Welcome in, Raiders. If you're new here, my name's Jasteria. We're playing Paralives today, and we're trying to get absolute hacks. Building hacks. I've just installed a custom, I was about to say mug rod. I've installed a custom rug mod, and you can upload floor plans to it, and so that's what I've just done, and it's like super hacks and I love it. If you are just joining, welcome in. We play a lot of variety here. I am trying to get partnered this year, so if you want to hang out with us, I'd love to have you, whether that's lurking or hanging out in chat. I'm not going to press you to do either. And if you can't hang around after the raid and you want to come back and see us another day, consider following. Hi Papa, how's it going? Hi from Raccoon City. Oh, so this is what we're doing, right? See this? See this rug? Please go follow Kelly if you're not. Kelly's amazing. Love that diva. Please go if you're new to twitch.tv/HeroKiri. You need to change that immediately, or I'll hire an Etsy witch to put a curse on you. Oh. What have I done here? Like, genuinely, what have I done? I'm just bringing this back so that... Oh, no. I'm bringing this back so I can see where the doors go before I get to, You're hungry? Go eat! If you need to eat, if you need to raid and run, I completely understand. Thank you so much for the raid. I really appreciate it. Please go follow Kelly. Kelly plays a lot of variety, is super talented on piano, is playing through a lot of Let's Plays, plays Just Dance. It's just, you know, it's just the total package. So, you know, go follow her if you're not already. Please and thank you. That'd be lovely if you could do that for me real quick. Are you playing Resident... Oh, how's Resident Evil? How are you going with it? I hope you're doing okay. I need to like rotate it ever so slightly. I mean, look, this is just to get the gist of it. We've done the anyways. Hi IGN, how you doing? Leon's tolerable. Girl, that post. That post you made. I was like, they're gonna come for you, girl. Pissed off so many people. Yeah, but that's funny. It'll be all the like Resident Evil dude bros just being like, you're wrong. I can't tell you why you're wrong, but you're wrong. Yeah, no, it would absolutely be the dude bros, because that's what they do. Hi, Net. How you doing? Nice to see you. It's absolutely the men derogatory. Derogatory terminology, you know, all that. What I find interesting, right, is this bedroom. So we've got a door here, and then there's the bathroom grate and the archway. The master bedroom. Unless, what is this? Any architects in chat? What does this mean? What does this mean? What is that? What is that? Hi Josh, how you doing? Closet? Thank you so much. See, look, there was an off chance, but look what happened, all right? Look what happened. Why is this being weird? Why is this snapping? There we go. Okay, we're just gonna start anywhere. Great. Hell yeah. I'm doing good, thank you. Thank you for letting me know. It denotes the goon chamber? Oh, okay. Good. Why would you have a closet in the bathroom? I don't know. I just grabbed this off the architect website. I just grabbed this off the architect website. The other thing I'll say, if you have come in with that raid, I know I feel greasy. I always feel greasy talking about the fact that I'm pushing for partner. But we're on one stream. We're on one stream for the month, and then we can move on to the next portion. We need just one more stream. If you want to look, put me on 160p, mute the tab. Hi Ghost, how you doing? If you wanna just put me on mute real quick, I'm not gonna be offended. Thank you for the support. I've lived a couple of places where the master closet was in the bathroom. What? Maybe maybe that is where the washer and dryer go. Wait, can you stack the washer and dryer? I need to see this. Hang on. Can you stack a washer and dryer in Paralives? Because if you can, I will lose my shit. Even if I could put a shelf. I could put a shelf. I could put a wall shelf and you can extend it. I'm pretty sure you can extend them outwards, right? Let me check that. Damn it! Never mind. Then the game crashes. It's just like, no. Where is it? I think it's, you know what's funny? I think it's actually under here somewhere. Nope. Is it? Nope. It might be in the bathroom section. Yeah. So, okay, so hang on. Where the hell? What in the hell is going on? Is it because I've made the... Is it because I've risen the patio? Oh my god. But everything's the same level. I'm confused. Oh, my house and other houses that don't have room for hallway closets. Oh, I was in a house that had like literally no storage, that everything had to go in our wardrobes. It was nuts. I also had a really tiny room, and that being important's overrated. Is it because the rug was... It's because the rug was there and the rug is levitating, question mark? Is that what's happening? What is going on? Oh, hang on. I see what's going on. Hang on. Everyone just calm down. We've figured it out. Why can't I, there we go. Okay. What is happening? No! Holy shit, I've done something to my computer, dragging that out. Okay, well. Am I okay? No, I'm not. Okay, so I think I just need to raise that up. And now I think we're good. Okay, yep. Send help. Send help. Hi Ty, how's it going?
Rar.
Playing Phasmo all of a sudden. Hi Templar, how are you? Okay, so we've figured out what's happened. Have we? What is going on with this rug? I'm gonna scream. Like, I'm genuinely gonna scream. Lord, help me in this trying time. Okay, okay. Why are we screaming? I'm just losing it slightly. It's okay. It's fine. It's totally normal behavior. It's fine. If you are just joining, welcome. You're coming from the raid from Kelly. Hello. Also, again, thank you to Kelly for raiding. Please go follow her, or I'll hire an Etsy witch to put a curse on you. I think we are now good. Oh, thank you. All right. Now we can figure out if we can stack these. Oh, okay. Oh my god. You can stack them. You can stack them. You can stack them. And you just chuck something like that. Oh my god. Again, like living life Sorrox, yes, Templar. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. Although I didn't play after I finished stream last night, I did not play this. This is me today, first time since last night's stream. I'll fix that later. I just wanted to kind of see where we were at with that, so that's fine. Okay, so I've put the archway in. So now I just need to put doors in? Question mark? Yes. Yes. Okay. I'm just going to put basic ones in and then I might fix them later. I'm just going to do this. So that one swings inwards. Yep. Yep. That one also swings inwards, obviously. Oh, I want to make it like pretty true to form, you know, all that. Spinwards. We didn't play. It wasn't she is telling the truth. It wasn't for 8 hours. It definitely was not for 8 hours. I'll tell you that much. Opium. Cool. Neat. And then, so yeah, living room. Oh, a bench! That's cool! Hang on. There was one... What did I put... Do you know what I put down in the entryway of that last house? We didn't. Janelle did. We just... It wasn't for 8 hours! It wasn't for 8 hours. How did I touch that? How did I touch that? I'm moving that away. Get out. I don't know what you caught of that, but okay, pop off. What did I use? I can't remember what I used. Thank you for the follow. Welcome in. I don't know what I used for the thingy-majiggy. Do you remember what I used for the bench? Someone who lived with mold and water damage caused by other types of flooring. The only good long-lasting option is tile. Rip. Hi, LT. You're ready to die. Don't die. You're so sexy. Huh? It's weird. Okay, maybe I do. I kind of wanted something solid across the bottom, but this is not solid. Although that's kind of cute. That's actually kind of cute, though. Hang on. I kind of like that, actually. I thought about doing like a built-in, what did I use? I can't remember. Can anyone remember what I used? Was it oh, it was this. It was this. Can I? Yeah, baby. Okay, no, I can't do that. Good. What about this one? Okay. Is that rain? It's happened. It's raining. No wonder it's so dark. Anyways. What floor plan is this? Don't know. It's one I got from architecturaldesigns.com. One time I checked out a rental and they were like, yeah, we replaced all the carpet. They recarpeted the bath. At one of my old family homes, there was carpet in the bathroom and it was foul. It was like the salmon pink colour, and then quite rightly mum got it tiled to like this lovely blue. But, oh, who does that? Who carpets a bathroom? Psycho behaviour. Hi, rain! Oh my god, Avery, it's raining. It's so weird that you're here and you just be like, hey man, it's raining, and you're like, yeah, I can see it. Yeah. It is still crazy to me that you are here. Even like when you're streaming, my brain's just like, oh my god, wait, hang on, no, she's here. She's in the same city doing that. That's weird. Yeah, it's crazy. Okay, I think I'm just gonna, this couch is gonna get pushed over. Oh, a little like half wall could be cool here. Can I do half wall? Yes! Okay. Alright, we'll go to there. Whatever. Half wall could be good there. Can you place plants on a half wall? Should we find out? I know it's probably going to look weird, but it's just for scientific purposes, just out of wondering. Okay, well. Okay, well. You can put plants. This video game, it must be stopped. Anyways, I'm waiting for the day Avery just appears in the window behind Brogan. Just wait, Brogan will do that one day. All it took for her to start with collabs was to move out of the US. Yeah, she was under surveillance and she didn't want to talk to anyone. Funny enough, carpeting in the bathroom was seen as luxurious because it was expected to be replaced every year with the fashion. That's so wasteful. And the economy went to shit and the carpet stayed for 20 years. The idea of the toilet being there, where there's just the idea of carpet surrounding a toilet makes me very uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Like, oh, whoopsies. I'm not done yet. I'm just having a wee... I do wonder if I did a separator here. Can I try something real quick? Oh my god, I hate everything. Stop. What do you mean? Yes. Yes! That's slay! Oh, whoops. No, I want that. Thank you. Oh. Oh. Can I not? Oh my god, stop everything. I might need to delete this. Okay. We've got kind of a base there though. But I just need to... Can I put a step there, or is that gonna hate me? Nope. Okay. Hi, Gothams! Oh, the 50 streak! Ooh! Ooh! Okay, well... Okay. I guess we're not gonna do that. So what the tea is here... That's not a half full, goddammit. Hello? Hello? What do you mean? Weird. I'm gonna scream! It's really, like, yes, you're given free reign, but at what cost? To be longer. Okay, I'm just gonna figure that one out. No, I need to figure it out now. Okay, well, whatever. Oh man, that's so deceptive. Ah! Hi Sarah, how are you? Nice to see you. Hey Diva. You're right. You're right, babes. Okay, that's probably fine. That's probably okay, like that. And then, so there's a bench there. Oops. And then you're gonna do something like, this is just for argument's sake. I'm just doing this for, like, and then, can't make that bigger, which makes me sad. Hell yeah, look at that. That could be cute. And then you've got your table there. And then, oh, you've got like a fat island. Sorry, I was mopping. I know, I just can't believe it. I cannot believe it. So that, okay, so, oh, I think I've probably done this a little bit too. It's alright, we're gonna improvise here. Like, and then you go like here with this, but again, we're probably gonna do different things. I just want to see what space we're working with here. I might have to do a shower here, which is fine. Can you make the shower bigger? No. Okay, well, can't have everything, I guess. There you go. It's just to get like a layout kind of sized up a little bit. Oh my god, what happened? Okay, well, and I think this one now needs to go up again. Yeah. we moved to New Zealand and all was right in the world. All was right. Now, how the hell, what am I gonna do with the roof? This is gonna be interesting. This is gonna be interesting. Would this look cute or not? And then what I could do... Ugh. Hello? No, I hate that. I hate that. Hate her. Hate her. Okay, so I think what I want to do... This is where I... Okay, please don't judge me. Oh, streaking for 3? Ooh. How's it going, Diva? I hope you're well. Why won't that snap? I'm gonna scream. That like that for a second because I think what I'm gonna do that this way. Okay, whatever we want. God. Okay. No. Hear me out. Yeah. Okay, I like it. Hi, Chris, how you doing? It gives it a, yeah, it's a nice little quirky build. It's got character. You're an architect. Let me tell you a little secret about construction. Nothing is built exactly how it's drawn. I've seen steel columns that were erected this year. And they are not perfectly vertical. Off plumb by 4 inches, and I've seen floors that slope down 3 inches between the front and the back of a room. You just got to go with the whack. Thank you. You know what? That was the validation I needed. You know what? I'll take that. I will take that and run with it. Hi, Sari. How you doing? I sat outside my hammock chair in the sun and breeze for a solid hour and a half. No kids, no husband. Oh, what's it like to be God's favorite? Honestly. What's it like? What's it like? Oh, this is... Let's just finish what we're doing here. I might take that like that, maybe. Do I want to take... And then I move this back up a little bit and across. I don't hate it. This is where roofing... Okay.
A follow.
Here's where I... Thank you for the follow. Welcome in. Here's where I start struggling is roofing. I'm also going to convince my boss to move the firm over to working in Paralives instead of AutoCAD. Could be good. Get that custom rug mod and get your floor plans out. I think someone literally came in here yesterday saying something similar, actually, that they wanted to start doing stuff in this game versus what they were doing. There was something a lot to that effect somewhere. Someone was saying something like that. Roofs are always weird and difficult. I know. I don't know what to do. Hi, Apothic. Welcome in. I hope you're doing good. Thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. I don't know what the play... I kind of want like a funky... Okay, Bob. Okay, Bob. Good morning. AutoCAD's quaking. The Sims 4 is quaking. Maybe... Whoa! I do wonder if I should... I have an idea. I do wonder if something more like... Okay. I do wonder if something more like... Just... Hey, what was that? it's cursed plankton. What's new? What's new? What if I do... Absolutely not. What if I do something like this? Maybe a little bit more. No, maybe I'll do that. Hang on. That's plankton. It's not actually plankton. It's... Have you seen cursed plankton? I've just got to check real quickly that there's no not safe for work stuff before I... This. Have you seen this? That's that. and then there were memes made. Cursed plankton meme. Like, there were like TikToks made. I've got to find one first, hang on. When you're in the shower and the hot water runs out. That's a bad one, but you know what I mean. Like, what's this? When I just got in bed all comfy and my parents call my name. Hi, Jules, how you doing? Hey, Icon. It's so stupid, dude. I promise there are funnier ones than that. Those are very surface level. Okay. It is so haunting. It is so haunting. Anyways, let's play some Paralives. Let's play some Paralives. Anyways. Anyways. Well, welcome. Hello. That's a video of me, actually. Me too. Me too. Been there. Been there. A lot. I had a thought, if I do something like this, is this gonna look weird? Because it's... Oh my god. I had a thought. Just okay. Is that weird? Kind of. Kind of. Amber's gonna stream this tonight, by the way. Amber Jessie in chat. You've seen that in real life? You know what? I'll take that again. I'll take it. It looks kind of strange though, right? Hello. Amber's streaming Paralives tonight. Unless you've changed your mind. Unless you've changed your mind. She is streaming that tonight. So go follow her. Like so tricky to have everything align the way you want it. I'm like, oh, I love the fact that you can do absolutely anything to your heart's desire in this game, basically. But again, I did not click that, but okay, pop off. What about that? Does that look weird? Hey Beans, how you doing? Welcome in. This is called Paralives. This is probably the game that's going to have the Sims 4 quaking the most out of any life sim game. We're doing a building. We've just uploaded a custom rug mod and we've done a floor plan. Rain's gonna slide right off that bad boy. Rain is gonna slide the hell off, and you know what? I'm on board for that. It's doing its job, and I'm okay with that. Can I move the whole house now that I've placed it? Is there a way to do that? Anyone who's played this game longer than me want to sound off in the comments real quick? Because I don't know. I don't know if it's possible. I do something. Oh my god. No! Omen!
A rain, bitch.
Oh my god! I personally would make that bump protrude a bit more. Okay, I will do that. I'll do that. Kira, thank you for the raid. Hey Diva, how was your little is it Women in Game? Was it Women in Games showcase that you were streaming today? I hope it was good. I'm sorry if it's the wrong thing and I got confused. You can let me know what you did. I was half lurking as I was getting ready for my work stream. Hello Raiders, welcome in. Hi Ruby, how we doing? Hi Gamer, hi Smashy, hi Zaddy. How was your stream? Please go follow my wife Kira. And it was that! So many games to add to the wish list. Oh, I might go back and watch it because I'm always looking for new stuff. I've been playing a lot of new games recently, and I don't think there's been a single game that I've tried that I've disliked. There are some good games this year. Some really good games. If you are new here, welcome in Raiders. I'm Jasteria. I'm a variety streamer. We play a lot of we play like a lot of simulator games like Tomodachi Life, Paralives. We've played Animal Crossing in the past, etc., etc. We do like a cozy game like this. So if you want to hang out with us, we are trying to hit partner this year. I'm on one more stream of the month. I need to do one more stream of the month, and then we can move on to the next part, which would be lovely. So if you want to hang out with us, we'd love to have you. Even if it's putting me on 160p and muting the tab. Copium. I'm not going to be offended, by the way. If you want to hang out with chat and chat, that's great too. Hi G, how you doing? Sadie's streaking for 3. She's streaking. Thanks for being here. Please go follow Kira. Kira also plays a lot of variety, is also wanting to go full time, and I think that she totally deserves that because her work is poo-poo pee-pee. And we should get her there. So anytime, go follow Kira if you're not already, and anytime she's live, please go just hang out in her chat. If you can't hang out in chat, just lurk, be there. That'd be really helpful. She plays a lot of variety, plays Just Dance, plays a lot of cozy games, plays a lot of chaotic games and horrors. Also tries a lot of games and demos, so period. Check that bitch out. I'm so close, like I don't want to get edged. I don't want to get edged. I got edged in March. What about making it like slightly higher? That's kind of cute. Streaking for 3, period. Yeah, I got extremely close in March, and then I got edged. I was sitting at 5 out of 6. Yeah, so we are here. We're living, laughing, loving. We're trying our best. I do understand that I have to niche down a little bit, but it was St. Jude last month, so we couldn't do that. Thank you for the follow. Welcome in. Yeah, I know. Look. If I have to play one game for the next like 2 weeks, I'll do it. I'll do it because Twitch loves a niche down. They love a niche down. Yeah, so unfortunately it does work because I saw it with Animal Crossing almost got me it because all I was doing was playing Animal Crossing, and yeah, we got so dangerously close. It was unreal. I don't like this. What's going on here? Hello? If you don't know what Paralives, if you've just come in, by the way, is, Paralives is, okay. Paralives is very much, gonna have The Sims quaking in its boots. It's another life sim game, and anything that you would dream of in a building game / life simulation game, you can probably do in this game. It's kind of insane. It's really insane. Like, you can custom place anything and everything. For those who have just joined, I was just saying before, I downloaded a custom rug mod chucked it down on the grass and uploaded a floor plan, and this is what we've made with the floor plan. Is this, and that don't mind all these weird furnishings right now. It's just for gauging where everything's going. I also need to build a closet, I think, from memory, but that's okay. We'll do that in a sec. Yeah, so that's what we've done. But you know, like the way in which you can clutter stuff is unreal. Like the Sims could never. So if we go here, look at all this: salt and pepper, that, chopping board, wooden spoon, Coke, milk. See that? The amount you can clutter on a table is unreal, and you can stack it wherever you want. You're not limited to where you want to go. So that's what you can do there. The other thing you can do, like, because I'm so tickled by this, you can just put cushions on couches. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean I can do that? I think you need more milk. You know what? Oh, yes, you can place giant Miku statues. I can't remember where is she in here? No. Oh, I need to show Becca the cow. There's a giant cow. Oh! I'm just leaving that table there to gauge my spacing. Sorry. Oh, also one thing to know about me is I scream a lot. Yeah, I'm not sure what it is. I also don't have any money to spend on games anymore. The other thing about this game is that's a room, not a closet. Glossing over the cow. You seen this thing? Look at this bad boy. Shall we just put this in the living room and that's it? Could be good. Right here. Right in the foyer. Could be good. Actually, you know what's cool? We could put it in the foyer. We could put it here. Look at that. Can we say yes, you can. You can size the cow up. Hang on. Okay, well. Oh, the limitations. There we go. Should just have that in the we'll just have that next to the house. I think that'll look really good. Genuinely. Look at that. That looks great. Anyways, how many bananas to oh, you can measure in bananas. We discovered that today. The other thing with a game like this is there's not gonna be any DLC. It's gonna be free updates, like constant free updates and patches, improving the game, adding content to the game, and all you do is pay for the base game. They have said that as they add more content and stuff, they will reflect that within the base game price. So my recommendation is if you like The Sims and you like the look of this and you really want this, I'd get it now before it starts going up. That's my recommendation on that. I know, Chris. I know. I know. Anyways, not the Trojan cow. Oh, I forgot to make her smaller. I could literally have her in the foyer though. Look at this. Look at that. Might look a bit weird, but could be good. All right, what I miss? We're talking about the pricing for this game and how they were doing updates for free and blah blah blah. Kira came in with the raid. We made a cow really jumbo. What else? I've been screaming and pulling my hair out about things, but we're okay. We're getting there. I kind of almost... Would an archway look good here? If I do this, and I made the whole... And I made the whole width of the... Let me just see something. Oh. Well. have a think. It's Alt. Yeah, if you hold Alt, you can just literally... So the thing about walls, so I will show you over here. So when you're building a wall, you can press G for the grid. So that comes up and it snaps. Like this is snap everything to the grid. Like that's what you can do there. The minute you turn the grid off, you can go obviously place wherever, but you're still a little bit limited in what you're doing. Like it only juts out and tries to snap wherever. But if you press Alt, you can do like literally anything. Anything. Any width. Anything. Anything! If that makes sense. I'm actually just waiting at the curb for you to build a house. And she's in her... Why do they keep putting them... Oh, is it because of the time of day? I was like, why do they keep... Yes, you can bend the walls. You can bend the walls. Look at that. Look at her. Look at her. Perceive her. I almost made a J there. Look at that. It's my initial. Can we put windows on the curve? Well, let's find out. Let's find out. Oh! Maybe not? Okay. Unless that I guess it kind of makes sense. I guess that kind of makes sense. Only Linux. Oh my god. Not the Pingles! Not the Pingles! Jesus Christ. Anyways. Well. well. These walls about to make me act up. In what regard? In what regard? Please and thank you. Would love to know. Thank you for the follow, Beans. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Oh, what have I done again? What have I done? How do I keep doing that? Genuinely, how do I keep doing that? Anyways, I think everything else is good though. Yeah, okay, good. What does that mean? What, acting up? UHD can tell you, honestly. There is curved glass. I worked on a project and had glass that was curved at the bottom and flat at the... What the hell? I would recommend not consuming isopropyl alcohol, but that's just me. That is just me. Oh, I need to move that couch out a little bit, I think. Or else... Oh, what about right against the wall? That could be good. And then maybe I will extend this wall. Make it longer. That's weird. Oh, fuck, I've got the curved one on. I was like, what the hell's happening? Okay. I literally... Just a casual suggestion. Oh, thanks, Beth. Did you see my new goal? We reached my goal of 5,000 followers yesterday, and so I made it 5,067 because I'm mentally 12. I did. Do you know what's funny? Out of curiosity, I went onto the Inzoi category on Twitch. Was it yesterday morning or the morning before? I was just curious to see how it was performing. There were 3 streams, and they each had. They didn't have a lot of views. Like, you know, I think there was like 3 streams going, and one person had 10, one person had 4, and the other person had 2. I was going to say, hi, Becca! Becca! Wait, Becca. I forgot to show. I don't know if I showed you this. You see her? Did you see her? And how giant you can make her? Oh, you used to eat drywall as a kid? Okay. Good. Good. Yeah. I would not, please don't drink isopropyl alcohol. Please don't. It will, if it doesn't kill you, it will seriously maim you. Like, you will be incredibly unwell for ages. It was like a week of Inzoi and then I just saw nothing. Yeah. Yeah, literally. It'll probably jump up after the next big update. Is there another update coming? I know the chaos so cute! Turret windows are typically narrow and the walls are thick so you can get away with flat glass for turrets. Like a turret like that the engineer in Team Fortress 2 has? Or what are we talking about? And what, like in the context of building, can you explain a turret to me like I'm 5? Thank you. Oh my god, look at how uneven this is. What is going on here? I was gonna do this, a little wardrobe moment. Look at this, cute. I probably want to make, can I make her wider? No, I can't. Okay, well that's fine. Guess I'll go fuck myself, but okay. Oh, I forgot. I need to play Mario Kart again. Just so you can drive as the cow, just to feel something. Not recommended Hellfire's like, no shit, it made you sick. That's crazy. Maybe people didn't want their basic. Did it? See, that's the thing. I was like, oh, it looks AI. Is it actually AI? Because I never looked into it too much because I was like, well, it looks AI. I'm probably not going to play it. And then I never actually found out if it was or not. Oh, like a tower. I'm gonna stop. A tower. Like in a castle. And then it's got like one of those, it's got one of these roofs on the top of it. It's got one of these. A tower. No, Amber. A tower. I know you were. I know you were, Beans. That's crazy. What happened? Why am I suffering? What is happening with this friggin' thing? See, that's right, but then... I think something's balked, maybe. Potentially. Oh, there we go. Okay, okay. Well, I don't know what is going on, dude, but whatever. Stop putting pinkles in my chat. Not only was it AI, but it had its own... Oh, yuck. Gross. This tower about to make me act... No more. Sometimes we let the intrusive thoughts stay in our heads. Stop it! Early access game, by the way. This one is also insane for early access, I might add. What am I going to do for a window here? I like the idea of like a bay window, but there's nothing that's really... Oh, look at this cunty little wood. Oh my god, it's huge. That's what she said. Look at this little number that's way too big for the house, but... Ooh, she's a bit slay. We could just... I kind of wanted to do like a bay window, but I don't think any of these jut out probably. Oh, I know! You can't stop my love of onion domes and Corinthian columns. Corinthians 6-7. What about this? Oh, no, maybe not. Speak your truth, Diva. Speak your truth. Got this barn door. No, maybe I want to do something. Oh, what about this? We do something like this. Oh, okay. I was hoping that the windows got white. Oh. I was hoping the windows got wider. I don't hate that though. I was hoping that the panels of glass would get slightly wider, but that joke was my 13th. No more. No more. No more. No more. I do wish that I could, like... Oh. Something like that, I guess. What I could do... I wonder if it's worth shortening this. Nah, that's gonna look weird. No, 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 we're gonna keep that there. Bookies, this is looking kind of empty. And then a TV down the back. And I think we're cooking. Y'all seen the wall TVs? Look at these bad boys, hang on. Some of y'all who were here yesterday would have seen them, but ooh! Ooh! Look at this. Oh, that bad boy. This is what, when I lived with Holly and Brogan, this is what it used to feel like in their lounge because they had a giant TV and the lounge was kind of short, so the couch was pushed kind of close to the TV. And it was like... it was like about here from the TV. And the TV was on like a bracket and you'd just be like... this giant fucking thing. Can you custom image? I don't think you can. No, you can't. You can't do that. That's sad. You tempted to eat glass? Oh my god. Is that disorder when you get addicted to eating stuff you're not supposed to? Is that actually a thing? Can't wait to play Marvel Rivals on that. Oh, girl. Girl, dream bigger than that. Imagine Animal Crossing or Tomodachi Life on this bad boy. Or Palia. You play a lot of Palia. Imagine that. What about this? Look at this old thing. I think everyone who's coming in probably expecting me to build and I'm now just truly fucking around. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Shout out to Big Sisters taking care of us when we had no survival instincts. Oh my god, Kier. This isn't so much as like a survival thing, but my youngest sister, who's older than me, I am the youngest, but the youngest of my other 3 sisters. So the 2 eldest grabbed me by my arms and legs and did that swinging thing, and they swung me into a bush of stinging needles when I was like, I don't know, like 5 or 6. Can laugh about it now, but the youngest of the 3 rescued me out of it. So bad, like little shits. Oh yeah, I cried. Oh, I cried. I am a crier by nature anyway. Yeah, I cried. Absolutely. Abso-friggin-lutely I cried. This could be cool. And then wait, can I stack this under? Oh my god. I can stack the gaming console under. Oh. Again, it just sounds so stupid me saying stuff like that because literally it's something that should have already existed, and it sounds so silly me freaking out about stuff like that, but like truly it's like so cool that you can now do stuff like this. You know, you pick it up what I'm putting down. To just be able to do that is nuts, right? Do you have that radio, this one? Or that one? Which one? We're now making Chris's house. The round guy. It's Chris's house now, bitch. Okay, I need to figure out what I'm... I know that there was a window here. I am sad that there's no, like, bay window. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that real, like, it sticks out moment of a window that I can see anyway. I'm talking, like, not that. I'm talking that the glass is protruding out of the... You know what I mean? You know what I mean, right? Not like, it's not flat. You have 5 Alice, that's fine. Oh, look at this window. That's cool. See, these... Very medieval, isn't it? Yeah, you know what I mean, right? Can you make angled wall and put... No! No, we just tried that before. We made an angled window and it doesn't... You can't put a window on it. On an angled wall, sorry. It's really sad. It's depressing, actually, I'll have you know. I do wonder if I want to do something.
A subscriber.
Gustavo?
What in the Property Brothers is going on?
Do you know what I find so strange is that a property brother is dating Zoe Deschanel? Also, thank you for the 32 months. Enjoy your emotes and your ad-free viewing. I reckon angled glass is probably coming. And it'll probably be coming sooner than you think. Opium. Can you make a series of walls that don't touch the ground and window them? I don't know because I think... Unless I can press shift? No, I can't shift. So I'll show you, for example. Some items in this game, it's usually like the actual furnishings. You can like press shift and move them upwards, see? Whoa! Oh my god! So I was thinking I could do that with a wall, but I can't. That's okay. What's that square window below the cat? Let's see. Probably in this one. This one? This one. This one protrude. Oh my. I'm gonna scream. I'm actually gonna scream. What the? Okay. You got an ad? Oh, sorry. Sorry. Sorry if you got an ad. Kind of slay. That's kind of slay. Hang on. I want it to be like right flush with the bench. Yeah, baby. And then... Don't! No! Chat! Good spotting. Good spotting. Oh, that looks cool as hell. I just think I just don't know what color palette I'm going for yet, but that looks cool as hell. And then the problem is, I would love to, I almost wonder if I should bring it in ever so slightly. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why in a second. Because I think these curtains would look really cute with it. Hello? Oh, can I not make them any? Oh, okay, well. Pop off, I guess. Maybe I don't like this. The thought was there, but I don't know. I think I did see someone. I think I did see that somewhere, like on TikTok, Mikuni. I'm pretty sure. I don't know what I did, but you're welcome. What did you do? Muffins? That's such a cute name. Stop. Muffins. Oh, muffins. I don't know what to do here because I really like the idea of like a draping moment like this, but I also my dreams have been shattered. Genuinely, my dreams have been shattered. I just want you to know that. I don't know what to do about this. Hi, Raw! How Paralives are so good. Let me tell you. Let me tell you. You're watching me resize these curtains? Look at this. And you can't see it right now, but I can make them shorter and longer. You can add, I show this to everyone and I think it's so silly because it's just like, it's a fucking cushion, but you can add cushions to the sofas. You can do that. You can add a duck pillow. I can add a plant. If there's a window that I don't like the size of, I can change it and make it smaller or narrower or taller. And a curtain will fit over that easy peasy. Ah, this console table's too small. Let me just... Raw, what we did today is this is a floor plan from an architect's website that I just grabbed. There is a custom rug mod, and you put it on the ground, and then you upload the floor plan to it, and then you do the house. So that's what we're doing. I'm just taking my sweet ass time because I'm clearly yapping too much as well, which is not helpful. But yeah, it's really cool. Learnt that off YouTube. Shout outs to... I can tell you her name, one moment. Shout outs to this creator because that's how I dove into that rug mod thing. Where are they? Where is my history? How do I... Here we go. Shout outs to... Danielle Builds. Shout outs to Danielle Builds on YouTube for that. That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah, real smart. I have biscuit, croissant, cookie, bagel, baguette, and of course muffins. Oh, they're all named after baked goods. That's so cute. Modding a game that's barely in early access, now that's a bold decision. There are so many mods already. It's crazy. Actually insane behavior. Oh, mind you. When I searched plant before, there's these plant. What about, now hear me out. Can I do something like this? Maybe not. Okay. This is weird. It's being very weird. Okay, well, guess I'll go fuck myself. But we did something like that. Yeah, so these work. Look at that. Look how cute that looks. Are you kidding me? I think that was a hung. Oh. Oh. Thank God you're here, Chris, because I'm clearly not functioning very well. Don't stop putting the pingles in the chat. Hi, Charissa. I'm sorry. I was just getting on here to watch your stream on Crackerjaw because I ended my stream today. Yeah. We go for 1.5 hours over there. So we finished up. Oh my God, 2 hours ago? We've been live for 2 hours already? How did that happen? How did that happen? Shut up, Templar. Oh, good night, Sarah. Thanks for hanging out. I love you. Sleep well. Sleep well. Yeah, only 1.5 hours. We only do little streams. Time flies when you're struggling, alright? Who's ready for an 8-hour stream? Okay, so is there any other planter then that has stuff in it? Is this also a hung one? Where is it? This one? That's cute though, to be fair. God, it's like so close to being okay. You know what I mean? It's just, it's so close. What game? Oh, we played Bubsy 4D today. It was really difficult. That game is insane. We played that, and then I'm live again same time next week, 6 p.m. Central on Thursdays. I'm live there. I think we're probably going to play Everything is Crab next week. I think. Yeah. So that's fun. Oh. Oh, what is happening? What is happening? Okay, there we go. I think just these, where they are, is pretty good. Your husband loves what? Everything is Crab? Or Bubsy? That looks cute as hell. Everything is Crab. Good night, Beans. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate it. Who's ready for it? Who is ready for an 8? No, I'm not reading that again, Templar. Can you tell I'm losing my mind? Ooh, that's nice. That's a nice color. I kind of want to lighten it ever so slightly. Or hear me out. What about this? No. Thank you for the stretch. Oh, you're saying, okay. You're saying goodnight to Sarah. I see. Do you know how often Crowd Control uploads new games onto their system? It really depends on the game. It really depends on the game. Oh, I just clicked my back. Slay. It depends on the scope of the game as well. Like, I'm very much not technical, but I do know that something like, I don't know, what's a good example here? Something like Elden Ring is probably going to take a lot longer than, say, something like, maybe like, what's like a smaller game? What's like a, like, maybe like something like, it also depends on the engine as well, but again, I'm not technical. Retro Rewind? No. It really depends on the scope of the game and everything like that. There's a lot of factors, and yeah, I don't know the full ins and outs of exactly how long every single step takes. Ooh. Oh, we've already done green. We've done earth tones. We're not doing that again. Oh, I like that. No, I like that. No, why is that really nice? I kind of want to lighten this door up a little bit. And have it match the paneling. A domino, yum. Not that Domino's is like the height of like good pizza, but yum. I just, the thought of pizza. Blue could be not true. Come on, architect! What about like a feature wall? Oh. Or hear me out. Here we could do like a blue tiling. We could do a blue tile here because like for the kitchen. Ooh, I don't know if I like that. The thing about games like this is I wish I could keep the, thank you for the follow. I wish I could keep the trim. A wall of glass. Say less. Say less. This is gonna be like that Cullen beach house. Okay. Why does it kind of eat? I'm not keeping it like that, but why is it? Okay, Rich. It's kind of nice though. It's kind of nice. Thought I followed you yesterday. Why'd I have to follow again? Oh no! It's okay. It's okay. Wait, no, because there's the patio, right? So hang on. Sliding doors? Yeah. I think I want it over to the side here, yeah. What way is which? Oh, okay, I see. It goes like that. Yeah, yeah, that's how I want it. I want it, okay. But you could do something like this.
A subscriber.
Hey Cooney, thanks for giving us up to beans. Enjoy your emotes and ad-free viewing. Hype. Wait, a wide window kind of eats. What about if I do something like this, though? Hello? Can I change the height of that? No, I can't. Okay, well, can't have it all. Hi, Marissa! I am. How are you? Nice to see you. Welcome in. Oh, the other good thing about this game that I keep harping on about is that if you copy something you've resized, it copies at the size you've resized it to. Which is like the dream. This kind of has been my go-to window, is like the 3 panels of windows. Go big or go home. I guess you're already home, so you do whatever you want. Okay. You know what? I will. It's kind of nice. Oh, the other thing that I have not done yet is you can look at the ceiling stuff. You can do different ceilings. You can do like a wood ceiling. You could never do that in the other game that we have been dogging quite a bit, and I feel like I'll stop dogging it now. Couldn't do that with the other game. How cool's that? Well, how long did I spend on that other? It's about 30 minutes, right? So we're already like an hour and a half deep into this house and we've not done anything. Okay, I don't know what color scheme I kind of want to go for. I could do like a beachy kind of theme, I guess, because the beach is right there. Looking bloody messy though. Time for me to make a not the Pav, we call it the Pavlova ceiling. What's it called? Is it stipple? Is that the actual name for it? Is that the scientific term? Oh, this is a new house, Carissa. You're doing an influence and convincing me. No, okay. Raw, I'm a builder. I'm not a simmer. So when I play The Sims, all I've done in the past 5 years, hi Omni, is build and decorate. Like I really want to get into like maybe a townhouse that is already in this base game and decorated a little bit. Thank you, Carissa. Got you. Just double checking. So this is lit. First of all, secondly, I was saying earlier that what the devs intend to do with this game is to provide contents and additional stuff by way of free updates and patches. What that means is they're not charging you for DLC, however, that they have stated that as they add more stuff, it will be potentially reflected in the price. No, it's going to be reflected. The base game price is going to reflect that as it grows further and further. So I'd say get it sooner rather than later, is what I'm saying. What if they add this game to crowd control? Well, watch the space. That's all I'm going to say. Watch the space. Never say never. Cookie just pooped on your bed. Oh, I'm so sorry. Kittens. The rubber term, unbeknownst to me, because anyone at the firm who would even suggest a popcorn ceiling would have their tongue removed. I think it's stipple, right? I'm sure it's. They used to be quite. It used to be quite pop. Well, a lot of the houses I'd seen back. Oh, I know when I was like in high school. It looks like fucking whipped egg whites have just been slapped on the ceiling. It's disgusting. Maybe crowd control keeps moving the floor. That could be it. That could be it. This is kind of a nice countertop. It's kind of a nice countertop. I really want to do a corner bench because I haven't done one yet. Let's do that. Yeah, baby. Now I've turned into Austin Powers. Great. Yeah, baby. Yeah. So anyways. Yeah, baby. Yeah. Do you want to make you horny, baby? So, okay, I'm going to shut the fuck up now. Oh, that's... Okay. Oh, that's cute. Hang on. No, that's cute. I like it. Zora. Hey, Zora. How the Paras today? They're not doing anything because all I want to do is build. Hello, how are you? Nice to see you. Euro redeems 10 points to remove the entire house. That is way too cheap, Tara. I literally check crowd control every single day to see if there's new games. To be fair, I use it to stream almost every day. That's so cool! But anytime a new game goes on there, I get so excited. Hell yeah. Do you try... Are you one that likes to try a lot of different games with... Does crowd control make you try games that you normally wouldn't try? Oh, stop. 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 Oh my god. Oh my god. Popcorn ceiling equals acoustic textured stucco or cottage... Ooh, not cottage cheese ceiling. Oh! Ow! That's foul. That's foul. Go. What kind of house you been? Zora. Okay, so I downloaded the custom rug mod and I put it into the game, and then I uploaded a floor plan, and then this is the floor plan. This is the floor plan that I went with. This is such a hack. It's such a hack. Are you kidding me? Yeah, so that's what we'll be doing. That's what... Yeah, I know. Oh, is Robo here? Oh, I saw, oh my god, Robo. I was like, is Robo here? I just completely dogged him. That's really funny. I want to make... I think I'm going to do dish... Ah! Oh! Sorry for screaming. Sorry for screaming. It's... What the hell? What the hell? Sorry for screaming. Apologies. Apologies. Oh, that's not... Here we go. Oh, you know what I need? I need space for a... What am I gonna do with the fridge and the oven? It's like kind of small. I might need to reassess the window situation. hear me out. Hear me out. I've had a thought. Well, yes. 1,000 points to remove a room. Hey, do y'all... Okay, so what I used to do...
A raid.
What I used to do... Eraj! How's it going? Nice to see you. Thank you so much for the raid. What I used to do... Hi, raiders. I'm sorry. Okay, there we go. Hi, raiders. If you're new here, my name's Jasteria. We're playing Paralives today, and we're getting our life. We're getting our Paralife. Okay, no, I'm gonna stop. If you are new here, we play a lot of variety here. We're playing Paralives. We're building. We've just uploaded a custom rug mod, and we've made a floor plan, and we're building the house for that. So thanks for the raid, Raj. We're trying to hit partner this year, so if you want to hang out with us, love to have you. I think my lurkers are all asleep. It's 4:51. How was your stream? Nice to see that you succumbed to Call of Duty. I hope it was fun. I hope you had good games. If you are going to bed, good night. Thank you for the raid. I appreciate it. Thanks for sharing your community with me. If you are leaving, thanks for doing that. Thanks for raiding. I'm looking at that. Okay, all is right in the world. Oh, you're playing zombies. Oh, I'm gonna go stream. Please go follow Eraj. Please, a staple of the community and a lot of communities. Please go follow Eraj. Eraj plays a lot of variety as well. Go hang out. Am I following you? I better check that. I am now. It's one of those things where I thought I was already following you. I'm sorry. I saw the shout out come up and the heart was hollow and I was like, am I not following you? I better check that. The oven could be in an island. That's true. That's true. I could do the island. One moment, please. One moment, please. I could do the island. Is there an... There it is. Hello? Where'd she go? Oh, there we go. Oh my god, she's so wide. Wait, what? What is that? Oh, I see. Okay, well. GG's. I'll follow for the real and watch. Yeah. If you need to raid a run, I completely understand. Thanks for the raid, and I hope you sleep well. That's nuts. Going till 4 AM, I couldn't fathom that in this day and age. If I was, you know, like maybe 10 years younger, maybe even more, like 15 years younger, yeah, maybe. I just love my sleep too much. I'm just such a nana. I could never. You're just built different. It's fine. My first time ever seeing you was last night, but still. Fine. Every time I come in here, you have over 100. Oh, look, we're coping. We're on that. Now, what about if I do it to the edge here? Now, I did say I wanted a corner. I wanted to do a corner bench, but fridge. What the hell? Okay. Oh, I can't have the fridge there. It's blocking the window. Unless I... Checkmate. 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 Alright? Anyways. Oh, thank you, Fraser. Thank you. That's why I did it. I did it in the hopes that you would be in here and you would respect... You of all people would understand the floorboard riz. The floorboard vibe. Oh, words are hard. It's pretty sad. That's fair. It's alright. I'm allowed to be sad. Washer. Would you bake some pastries in this kitchen, Fraser? Look at that view, that sea view. Imagine washing your dishes. Just like... Imagine just washing your dishes there. Wait, I don't want to... It's shit hot, isn't it? I could even make this like the height of... Fridge. Does that look weird? Nah. Good night, Raj! Thank you so much, I appreciate it. Thank you so much, sleep well. It's okay to be sad sometimes. What about all the time? No, I'm not done yet. I'm not done. We're deciding if we can put an oven in... Oh, you can. Can I put... Oh, what if I did something like this? Where it's like an induction top, like... Oh, wait a minute. That could be kind of shit hot. Roland streaking for 25? Streaking for 25? Oh, but then we still need an oven, don't we? What about that? Or what about even opposite the... Does that look weird if I do it in the corner? Is it a... Okay. Perfect. Oh, maybe I do... electric stove? Ew. Go build your own house then. The oven's ass is hanging the hell out. Maybe I do want to do a cornered thing, and I'll tell you why in a second. I do like this. I've used this every single time, this oven. I do like this oven a lot. It's gonna conflict with the... Do another one of these, eh? Where did that go? Okay, well... I mean, I could just do a dining table, in all honesty. I really hate having a fridge right next to the oven like that, but... Do like a little... Wait a minute, I have an idea. A little this moment, that's better. And then... Oven. Yeah, I do hate having an oven right next to the fridge, but... I don't want it like in front of the window. And then a rubbish bin. Look at that! Fridge. No, the fridge. And then washer. We can restore the window a little bit, which I'm kind of excited about. We can absolutely do that. Washer, fridge. Okay. Look at that. It's so extra, dude. I kind of want to give it the same spacing as the other side, though. Or is that weird? No, that's alright, I think. Oh. I think that's fine. And then, hang on, and then a little moment, a little fruit bowl moment. Okay. Right in the corner. Look at that! That's cute as hell! The hanging fruit. There's... Oh my god, stop! Is that a corn? No, it's bananas, okay. Oh, that is cute. Hang on. Hang on. Stop everything. have never seen anything like that before. That's really cute. What about if I put it like... What if I did a little this moment? Maybe not. You know what? That's okay. We don't have to do that. Ugh. Is that better? The Sims are literally quaking. I know! This is going to influence me to at least pick up the game on Steam, Loki. High key. High key. Maybe I do like this more. I hate it, but I don't hate it. You know what I mean? But we've got to stay true to... We've got to protect our little meeples, okay? We've got to practice safety. We've got to practice good kitchen safety. You know what I mean? That's so cute. Stop. That is so cute. I love that. I love that. Whoa. And then a dish rack. You can do like, wow. You can do like a, oh yeah, this is kind of beachy. Oh, this is beachy. Hello? Here we go. First things first. Do like... I think the plates will keep the same color. Yeah. Okay. That is so fucking cute. Someone put Chris in timeout. What? All it needs is... No! It doesn't need a popcorn ceiling! Absolutely not. That's cute as hell. Why is my chat broken? Okay, there we go. Oh, no! This. Maybe I do like it that, like this, maybe. What the fuck? No, that one. This is me overthinking literally everything. Scraping the popcorn ceilings off my childhood home was... You can do that? Why are you hanging off the ceiling? Yeah, I'm a little bit concerned for you, if I'm being honest, but it's alright. It could be worse. You could be beans and eating drywall at 5, or whatever, however old you are. I have an idea. Is this going to work? That is my question. Okay. Whoa! Hello? Okay, we're good. We're so good. We're so back. Look at this. What about something like this? A plant that never gets watered. I don't like that. JK. I'm feeling inspired. I'm gonna go eat some drywall. She flew. She flew. She was a fairy. I guess my next thing is... I think we're just going to put a dining table across the back here. Genuinely. This looks cute as hell though. Like this is It's coming together. That floor plan really worked. It really ate down, didn't it? Okay. Oh, this is cute. I don't really know where I'm going with. Maybe I'll just stick with white for a second and I'll figure out what I'm doing. Because I could just add color to it as well. Like, there's nothing stopping me from... I'm gonna add the chairs first and then... There is nothing stopping me from, like, adding, like, color to it via plants and stuff. The popcorn ceilings keep the noise level down. I don't believe that. They're just ugly as fuck. Hi, concordance. How's it going? Concordance. Sorry, concordant. Every time I look away and come back, you are looking at those plants again. Exposed. Is that a call out? Because, you know what? Fair. You know what? That's fair. Is that a rocking chair? Oh my god. Oh, ooh! Will these fit outside? Got distracted. Oh, okay. Well, that's the patio done. That's it. We're done here. It's that Gwyneth Paltrow meme where it's like, it's time to go to bed. We're done here. Oh, I like this. What about like an off-white? This could be nice. This table is a little bit fucked. It's a little bit blinding. Okay. That's probably fine like that. Okay. You do it, I believe in you. I've heard about this from acoustics people. Small saving grace for them. Really? That's crazy. Alright, I guess we'll popcorn the ceiling then. Okay. You know how Avery's like, oh, I've got stuff coming for helping with the echo in her office. She's popcorning her ceiling. She's popcorning her ceiling. That's what she's doing. There you go. We've cracked the code. Anyways. Hi, Jay!
I've been streaking for 4 months and I won't stop.
I'm streaking. Thank you so much for the sub! Enjoy your emotes and ad-free viewing for another month. If you weren't here yesterday, I'm not alluding to what? I'm not alluding anything, but I did message Delaney, my emo artist, a couple days ago. Something's cooking. That's all I'm gonna say. Copium. Where's that plant? I know we can't put a hanging planter, but I just want to... Just some whole ass... Is this climbing? Oh my god. Can I shorten that? Damn it, can't. Oh, I can do this though. What if I stack them on top of each other? Oh, chat. Oh, chat. I am not getting a Pingles emote commission, thank you very much. That's cute as hell. Thinking with portals? Welcome, babes. I do need to enter, I do need to create a door, don't I? Make a... You know what I mean. Oh, wow, that's pretty full on. Oh, what about this one? This one could... Oh, that's cute. I like that a lot. Oh! I kind of want to align it a little bit with Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Oh, okay. Okay, cool. Thanks for that. Oh, is it because... Oh, I see. Of course. Do you think she can walk up that without some stairs? Oh, congrats, LT. You can spell, but also you spelled it wrong. I know. They are drywall default. Crazy, huh? Unless, hear me. Oh. Hear me out, chat, for a hot second. What? Really? I was trying... Oh, there we go. Oh, yes, 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 yes. Look at this. Could be good. Just you wait. Could be bloody good. Just for argument's sake. To combat the stair problem that I'm having currently. That is why I've done that. Do you see the vision? You do not like that sound? Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Okay, well, oh bitch, stop that. Make them like steps. Make me like Mike. The hell? Oh, I can't push it any further. You seen that like Mike thing? That I said. I'm losing it. That like Mike. Make me like Mike. That's cute. That is cute as hell. I like that a lot. Make me like Mike. No. Okay. I don't think that's the right color. Hang on. It is the right color. Chad, this looks cute! Stop! That looks so cute! Sorry, I was really like locked in for a second there. Other than the building every... No, I haven't romanced anyone. Anyone. Oh, I need to lift that bloody roof again. No, I need to up... Hang on, I know what I need to do. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I think by default it's... Okay, yeah, it has to be there. That's okay. That's so cute. And then like, oh... Is this gonna look cute if I do something like this? No. but a little white weatherboard could look really cute. What the? Oh, yeah. Get rid of that. Look at that! That's cute as fuck! Like stepping stones? Oh, yeah. I hope that's long enough. Oh, yeah. Maybe. Now, is this like Inzoi where the paras won't step up without actual... Shall we... Let's find out. Let's find out. Oh, I've missed a spot. Oh, I didn't even need that. I didn't even need that. I didn't even need that. If by Roblox you mean Dress to Impress, then yes. But I haven't also played Dress to Impress and such. Man, that's something we need to hop back on. Is Dress to Impress still shit? Or is it, I mean, you know what I mean? I feel so shit at Dress to Impress these days, though. Like, I'm terrible. Get me back to midday. First of all. Thank you. Oh my god, all these. There we go. What about like a little like dark blue roof? That could look really cute. Maybe this? Tay! Your little cousin said your unk status. How do you feel about that? Oh, that looks nice. Hang on. It's kind of cute. I'm not gonna lie. I like the white trim. I just... Oh, this is nice. Oh, this is nice. This is nicer. This is nice. This is nice. There was something a little bit off. I couldn't... This is... Darker is better. I like that. I like that a lot. Is that what... Is Uncle... I just thought it was Uncle. And I'm like, okay. Sleigh boots the house down. That's not really... Okay. Interesting. I haven't been called Unky. I'm 25. Must be nice. I was about to say, if you're a boomer at 26, then what the hell am I? That is not an invitation to answer that in a sassy manner. That is a rhetorical question, and I will... What the hell's going on here? Whatever. Girl, whatever. You're okay, you can keep that one. You can keep that one. I'll take that. Okay, so what about... Uncle's gonna come in here and see me looking at plants again and call my shit out. Oh, these are cute. What about that? Oh my god, that's beautiful. That is so cute. Stop. I love that. Just a little bit of color in the room. I do think I want to change the wall color. But I just don't know to like what. It needs to be like beachier. Hi, Concord. Plants mentioned. Plant takeover. Tree. Deciduous tree. Pine tree. Seedling. Herb. Corn. Palm tree. Am I no, I feel like that makes you less unk because I feel like Angela Anaconda is ancient. You know what I mean? Pine tree, deciduous tree. Herb. I love a plant takeover. So funny. Love a plant takeover. Plant takeover. I need to do this away from that thing. Who is Herb? You know, like the Herb emote. Have you seen the... This. Oh, it's got to be here somewhere. Plant takeover. Oh, I don't know. Who's got it? Plant take... I've searched it, but I can't find it. Fuck! That's not the one I wanted. Shit!
About it.
I wanted the cursed plankton.
Wicked witch, wicked, wicked witch, wicked, wicked, wicked witch, wicked, wicked, wicked witch.
You tell I'm tired. That's what I wanted. That's what I wanted. Wicked witch. you know, because when you really think about it though, Madam Marble, flip it around, wicked witch. Wicked, wicked witch. Begging to play. No, because I'll get told off. The rest of chat will tell me off if I do that. I can't do it today. Okay. That almost gave me a bit of a fright there. What do you mean? Y'all were on my ass each time I played it last month. What do you mean you've all of a sudden changed your mind? What do you mean? Okay. I wouldn't thank you, Raw. I feel like you'd know who Angela Anaconda is, right? I feel like we're of similar age. Maybe. You'd know who Angela Anaconda is. Yeah, for sure. See. I reckon the views on this video, about, I want to say a good 30% of them are from me alone. Okay. Whenever you want. Whenever you want. Okay, there we go. Oh. What the fuck? Is this muted? Yeah, it's muted.
My name is Angela. Hey, hello. Welcome to my very own show.
I'm only doing it once. I'm only doing it once.
Oh no, it's Nitty Poo.
It is terrifying. It's nightmare fuel.
My name is Angela, and you are not. Nanette Manoir is a stuck-up jerk-faced slut. And now to today's story, starring me, and not starring Nanette Manoir.
It's the voice as well, like on top of the style and everything. Great song. Great song. On top of the, like, the stylized animation, it's the voice as well. No. I kind of went dream guest on my podcast. A little bit. Dream guest on my podcast?
A cheer.
Thank you so much.
Okay, you're welcome. You're so welcome for that one. If you really enjoyed it, you're welcome. Whoever voiced Angela should make a podcast, maybe. Whoever wanted and more. Love DJ Cumberbund! Oh, you'll fit in here. My mod Roland is obsessed with that guy. Obsessed. I think, no, he's also, no, he likes Neil more, I think. What's Neil's last name? My brain is gone blank. Neil Cicero, is it how you pronounce it, Cicerega? Benedict Cumberbund? So Neil Cicada? You know that one.
A cheer.
Okay.
My name is Angela. Hey, hello, welcome to my very own show. I'll introduce my friends to you now. It's Ninny Poo. Chorus Scooby Dooby Doo Wop Wah. My name is Angela and you're not Ninette Manoir is a stuck-up jerk-face snot.
Whoa. 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 Can't just say that. Man, they really hated each other, didn't they? I'm making the executive decision to have it as one panel. Where's Chris? Are you gonna make Avery in the game and have your characters get married now? Don't tempt me with a good time. Don't tempt me with a good time. Actually, maybe if I do this. You can tell I haven't played The Sims in recent years because I say recent years in recent times because you can't put these little windows up the top and the roof. I'm sad. That's depressing as hell. Okay, well. What do you think about this window? Detracts from the bay window and could cast a glare on the tip. That's why they pay you the big bucks. You don't have to tell me twice. You're gonna have Angela stuck in your head for a week. You're so welcome. Well, don't blame me. Blame Omen. Blame Omen, and then everyone else in chat who said I was allowed to do it. That's... Well, who's... Now, okay, well then... You need to look inwards there a little bit. And maybe I want to do... Hello? Can I please have my wall back? Oh my god. Oh. Oh. Oh, it doesn't like that, does it? Oh. Jesus, this is a bug. This is gonna be a bug. Okay. Okay. Yep, good. Alright, hang on. Do you know what I haven't done? Save. Angela died for yourself. Okay. I don't know about that. Shooba-dooba-doo-wop-wop, my name is it. Not this. Not this. Chris, do you have any tips for windows in general? Because I'm really bad at placing them. Like, I just kind of don't really know where I'm going with things sometimes. How about, like, a short one? What? Yes, Glix, can I help you? Can I help you? What is happening to my house? What is happening to my house? Thank you. I'm pretty sure Angela did have a plot, but I can't tell you what. You're extra feisty tonight. I feel like you were worse yesterday. I feel like you were feistier yesterday. Would you tell us the plot of Angela? It was it was a TV show, so there were multiple. There were many plots. I'll have you know, many plots. That existed. My name is Angela. Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that. Think about how the light will come into the space and the view they will provide. Hey, you want a view of this cliff face? I don't know what I'm doing there. Do you want to know what 2.5 hours of work looks like? Pack it up. Pack it up. Okay. So that's a closet. I don't know if I want to tile the bathroom or not. Maybe I do. No, not Jay. No. Oh, thanks, Kay. I think it is too, but... My name is Angela. Why the hell is that not copying? Bitch! Okay. Why does it look green? Where are we going? The moon? Okay. Hi, Moni. Sing it again. Shoo-ba-doo-ba-doo-wah-wah, my name is Angela. It is, it's slightly off to the green side. Give me like a crisp white. What the f- There we go. That's what we want. That's what we want, and then I'll happily take... Yeah, that's cute. That's cute as hell. Look at that. Do you not know the lyrics? Shoo-ba-doo-ba-doo, wow, my name is Jasteria. Shut up. Stop. Stop. That's stupid. That's stupid. Okay. I really don't know what to do with this back wall for windows. How does our house... I'm really... But that is one thing. It's roofing and windows for me. That's where I start... That's where I start flopping. I just want to make sure I get the right frame if I want to do something like this, maybe? Oh no, we're fine. Oh, we're moving that higher. I'm not mad at that. I'm just looking at my window behind to see what it looks like. There was a... What? Don't... I'm really gullible. The unexpected pairing of Angela Anaconda and Digimon refers to a notorious 4-minute crossover short that played immediately before the 2000 theatrical release of Digimon the movie.
This is it, DigiPals. In a few seconds, the doors will open for the best
If you
movie
squint,
of
it's
all
HD.
time, the Digimon movie.
If you squint, it's
Our
HD.
7 hours of waiting in line and skipping breakfast have finally paid off. Nanette Manoir, the end of the line starts at the end.
Au contraire, Angela Anaconda.
Oh my god, I
End of the
remember
line
those
is for
two.
riffraff, which is French for people who have to wait in
14p.
line because they don't have all access VIP passes.
I haven't seen this, no. I thought that you were joking, and I was like, I'm gullible
We are
enough to
going
believe
have
you,
get
but I'm gonna
digi
Google it,
drafted
and
if we
it's a
want to get
thing.
the best seats. Get ready
It's,
to rumble.
it's not 14, it's 1. I'm gonna eat this granola bar while I'm watching this.
Hey, wait up! I was first in line. Yeah. See,
This is horrific. I'm sorry. Who made this?
where are my best friends?
Refills are free, right?
You're right, Rob.
Taken. Sorry. Saved. Back off, Grandma. That's it. If my friends do not get here soon. Ooh, popcorn. Thanks, Johnny Abadi. Digimon! Digimon! We are about to have the best view of the best movie in the best seats ever. Hats, view, blocking.
Oh, super.
So
great,
why are they
Angela
like that?
Anaconda. As if we would ever be so gauche as to wear them in the actual theater.
How do I get in touch
Oh,
with someone from the
yoo-hoo,
show?
Mrs. Briggs, we saved you a seat. Oh, enjoy the show, Angela Anaconda.
Oh, so Mrs. Brinks and Ninny Poo think they can block the Digimon show with their big fat Digimon blocking heads, do they? Well, not for long. Angela Anaconda, Digi-Evolve to Angelamon! Well, look who's here. Ninnymon and her Brinksy monster
Not
robot
Ninnymon.
comes to block our view of the entire world. Prepare for battle, you pathetic Pukemons! But first, let's make some concessions. After all, refills are free, right, Kinemon? Help me, oh Angelamon, more powerful Digimon than I! You will cry. Don't worry, Ninny Winnymon. My pal Johnnymon is here to give you a kickstart.
Yeah, my.
And now get ready for my ultimate anti-Ninnymon super secret power.
This is insane. Oh, she did.
Excusez-moi, but if you common line waiters
Jimbo,
can't
no!
adhere to proper theater etiquette, then I'll be forced to summon an usher.
Oh, Guinevere, je t'aime depuis le premier jour. I've loved you since the first day.
Hey, this isn't Digimon. This is some boring, phony, fake French film. But that
Crossover we never knew.
We're in the
I'm
wrong
shocked about this, genuinely. This is nuts.
I hold dibs on the best seats.
Oh, God, heavens! Wow. That is very interesting. Cinema. Absolute awesome. I kind of want to do this one. Hang on. This one. Can I replace? Yeah. Hi, Bigger. Shell, how you doing? There was a that's what I'm saying. Hey, so what the fuck was that? It was Angela Anaconda's Digimon crossover. You don't know it? Oh, well, that sucks to be you. Because I don't give a rat's ass about that. That's cute. Okay, that is cute. I'm going to use that for this bedroom. I think they want... Oh, hang on. I think we're going to go... That's not the right height. Here we go. Is that too extra? Is that too extra if I do something like that? I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Hi, Roland. Can we watch it again? I said we're watching it once only. This is the only time I said. Oh, that doesn't look right though. What if... Is that weird? To have two really... Where's Chris? Chris is like, I should never have told her. Not, well, if Becca... See, if Becca asks for it though, it's a different situation, isn't it? Chris is probably like, I should have never told her that I'm an architect because now she's just... It's in HD on YouTube. What? The theme song? Have I just been watching it like a pleb? Or are you talking about the Digimon thing? Angela Anaconda intro. No. Angela Anaconda funniest scene and it's 27 seconds long.
Class, as you know, Nanette was in charge of the Spring Fling Decorations Committee.
There's an Angela Anaconda channel?
Disposed, her dainty shoes will have to be filled. What is it, Candy May?
Filled with what?
I don't follow.
Follow who?
I will now...
Is that Whitney? Is that twitch.tv/Whitney? Two hours? Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody. Oh my god, it's not. Tom goes to the mirror. I've never heard of that. Don't mind the ribbon window on the master bedroom. This one? Is that what they call a is that what they call hello JP, how are you? Is that what they call a ribbon window? Is that how you say a ribbon window? Oh man. No, JP. JP's gonna be like, thank God. You know what? Thank God I wasn't here. My name is Sid. Oh, wait a minute. This is nice. And then, if we do like a lighter color. Oh no. Oh no, what's going on here? Okay. Was lovely as that was. Good night, Becca. Sleep well. Sleep well. And may you dream of me. And me only. No one else. Just me. No me. Okay, you can go to bed now. Popularly used by the Swiss architect Le Corbusier. How you pronounce that? Hi, sorry. How you pronounce that, real quick? Just out of curiosity. Just out of curiosity. Oh, this is gonna eat down. You have no idea. Le Corbusier. I love this. Is that the colourful cookware? Le Corbel. Is that the colourful cookware, like the you know the ramekins and stuff? Is that the one? You know the one. Oh, that's actually. I just don't know what I want to do with the. I kind of want it to be slightly more beachy. Maybe like this. Maybe like that. How are you doing, JP? Nice to see you. Le Crusette. Someone is lurking in my chat and is getting physically pained by listening to the shit. Oh, man. Maybe this one. Oh, this is the one I used last. The flowers are quite cute. Whoa, that is actually kind of nice. I have to say. I like that. Okay. This is nice. Okay. Okay. That's fine. You know what? That's fine. Okay. Where's the entry for the... Where's the shower entry? First of all. Oh. Oh, that's all keys. Can we add a dog bark and fart sound? It's so funny. What took? You should add a fart window. Technical. What's a fart window? And before Chris is not an architect. I'm just getting gaslit to fuck. Oh, that could be pretty funny. I'd laugh quite a lot. Oh, I did not mean to take a screenshot of that, but okay, pop off. That's really funny. Oh, this is cute. Oh, that's really cute. Stop. Oh. We definitely got to change the coloring on that. How is that frame white? A little window to let the farts out. Hey, that's what I do with the... No. This is what I do with the... I've used this... I used this yesterday. This one. I used this in yesterday's build. Like, legitimately. And then I put the toilet underneath it. And it worked out great. Can you put a plant on top of... Concord's gonna come for me. But can you put a plant on top of the toilet? Oh, good night, JP. I hope you have a good sleep. Thanks for coming in and saying hey. Sleep well. May you dream of minions. May you dream of minions and stealing the moon and all that. And young Sheldon. JP loves young Sheldon. I'm not a licensed... Oh, here we go. Now it's coming out. But only like 11% of people who work in architecture firms are licensed. Perfect fart window, see? Summoned by plants, literally. You have a cat in your arms? Mango! There is one way I can get Mango here immediately, but it's also not very fair on him. But it's to mention the B word. You know that notorious B word? That relates to snack/food. Not beans! No! Can I put a plant on top of the toilet? Let's find out. Oh my god, you can. That's... Where the hell are those going? That is just like game changing. Oh. It is actually game changing. Are you kidding me? Oh. Okay. There we go. That's better. Good night, Kay. Sleep well. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate it. I'm definitely... I have to not go as live as... I definitely cannot go as long as what I did last night. There is no way. So, oh, good night, Roland. Sleep well. Thank you for the lurks. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. This is looking nice. I just don't understand why that's going darker than what it is. And what the... So I've swatched this tap to this and it's looking darker than the tap. No! No, Templar. No, no, no. No, no. Okay, but anyway, so what plant are we putting? The most... What about that cauldron? No. We've got to put a plant in here. Oh, that looks cute. That looks really cute! Oh my god, this is eating. This is eating. This is eating down. And to think, I can put a washer-dryer combo in here. I could actually probably fit them. Oh my god, no shot. Well, it'd be helpful if I turn them around. But you know what I mean, right? Why has that one got a little thing on it? Are these both this Washinator, Captain Tumblebee? Well, that's gotta be the dryer. Why has it got... Absolutely not. Absolutely not. What the f... Okay, whatever. You know what? That's fine. Snake plant loves a bathroom. Is that right? Is it? Am I doing the right things? Look at this. Is there like a detergent bottle clutter? I'm sure there's like a... Maybe not. Oh good, there's a wide Miku. What's that? Oh, it's a jump rope, I think. Really? That's sad. You could, to be fair, you could do something like that. Quick question, how do you get the washer in after you put in the dryer? Did I see a box of Tampax in the clutter category? You sure did. You sure did. There's a... Where am I? Is it here? No. Well, first of all, there you go. But secondly, maybe some. Could I use something like this to replicate? It looks just like shampoo though, doesn't it? I was like, what if I do something like that? I'm doing it. What if I make it big? Where it now looks like a detergent bottle. You know? No? Neat. Anyways.
A follow.
Thank you for the follow. Welcome in. Thank you so much. Oh, this could be cute. This could be nice. One more. Okay. I need to grab that swatch again. Go do it. Okay. Great. Oh, did that not copy? Oh my. So anyways, hell yeah, Paralives. I don't know, but it kind of, like, it honestly kind of sounds a bit similar. It sounds kind of similar to Simlish. That is nice. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I think that's actually like not a towel rail. I think it's a like mobility assist, which is fine. It's absolutely fine. Can you put clutter in the shower? Oh my god! Oh, stop it. This is... Hey, so this is insane. Oh, you can't put a loofah in there? Ah, checkmate. Checkmate, I guess. Look at that. You can't. Can we put questionable shower attachment in there? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. Okay. Oh, there's this. I want everything to be yellow. It looks cute when it's all matchy-matchy. That is so cute. Stop. And then beach towels. Oh. Oh. Eh. Oh no. Oh. Can I not put them? There we go. There we go. Play. TP. Imagine if you could like open. Imagine if you could open the drawers for like the cabinetry, and you could clutter stuff in the drawers, in the cabinets, the cupboards. They would be lit. Oh my god, my brain. I can't. There we go. One thing I have noticed about this game is it can also be like quite interesting when you're placing things. It goes off the camera sometimes. I have noticed that. What, Diva? This is so slay. Yeah, I hope so too, but should be look, I think it's gonna be. You want some shower lump of hair? That's fucking gross. Oh, thanks for hanging out, Omen. Sleep well. Have good rest of your time zone. Thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate that. The fuck? That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? First date. Pad. Temp. Okay, well, maybe the first aid kit could go in where the washer and dryer are. Pills? There we go. Neat. Oh, hear me out, chat. Hang on. This is gonna be awkward as hell, but hang on. Okay. That's curved. Hi, Goalie. How are you? Nice to see you. I hope you're well. Hope you're having a good day. Hello, kitten. Sorry, I should call you Alpha, right? It sounds so cringe when I say that. Yeah. That's the T. That is the T. That's cool. I like that. I love it. What's that? Health clutter. Okay. I think this looks like really good. That's a cool bathroom. Are you kidding me? I like that a lot. Please address me by my pack title. Thank you. Woo. Praying on you tonight. Da, 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 da. Just like animals. 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 Those are some of my favorite memes. The like Wolverine ones to that. I'm praying. Oh no, what's happening here? Look at this, what's happening? Oh no. Okay, I have a solution. I have a solution. No, we're not doing that, but is it doing that anywhere else? Doesn't look like it, does it? No. Oh, it's doing it there. Weird. I don't know what that's about. Oh, it's doing it there too. I think I fixed it. I fixed it. I think. There's some nonsense. Oh, there is some nonsense going on there. Interesting. Is that a custom color?
Oh, I am praying on you tonight. Haha. Just kidding, Princess. I hope all of
I'm
my
praying on
packmates are
you
having a good night
tonight.
tonight. If not, Z Alpha will be very upset with you.
Okay. Okay. I'm praying on you tonight. Da, da. Hey FJ, how you doing? How's it going? Nice to see you. Hi Holly. Sorry, I got mega locked in for a second. I'm so sorry. Hi. How's everyone doing? Is that a TJ emote? What is that? Oh, that's not. Oh. I was too locked in. I'm sorry. I was trying to fix my walls. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's him. It's like, oh, that's not. What happened here? I kind of don't know if I should tile the bathroom or not. Maybe I should. Should I? How you doing? No, don't be sorry. It's funny. It is. You know what? It's funny. Oh my god, that's so bright. That's not even the brightest. I'm praying on you tonight. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. That's gonna be in my head now. I hope you're happy. Oh, that's kind of not. Oh, I like that. Is that nice? Or what is happening? There we go. No, I don't like that. I kind of like the grey. I really like the grey. Have you seen Obsession yet? No. Is it good? I still have to go see Backrooms first. It's good? Okay. Now, can I... Coach. No. Hang. Nope. Where is that? Where did I see that? How are you? FJ, if you're still there, how are you doing? Nice to see you. I hope you're doing okay. And if there's something else you want me to call you, let me know. Is it this? Oh, it's this. I wonder if I can get away, unless I just drag this that way. No, but it said it was a small wardrobe. Can I do something like this where... Oh, this. Maybe this? Can I make this smaller? Oh! Hello? Okay, I can't make it smaller. Damn it. Okay. And I need people to watch it so I can... Oh, there's so many movies I want to see and I still haven't gone to any of... Well, not any of them, but... It's so bad. I've been so slack. But also it's just like, oh god. I pay like $20 each time. 20 to 30 bucks each time I bloody go. You know? Kind of hateful. If you ask me, kind of hateful. May was huge for this. Yep. Okay, what am I gonna do here? Maybe I should put shelf. I think what I'm gonna do... Is there like a rail? Like a... What is that? Oh, what's that? Molding? Ooh. Midnight here in Ontario and I couldn't sleep. I've been a bit MIA from TJ lately and I saw you. Oh, thanks for coming and saying hi. I'm sorry that you're, I'm sorry that you can't sleep. Maybe the dulcet tones of me screaming at this house will lull you into a nice slumber. We'll see. Shelf. I think what I'm gonna do here is something like... Oh, what about... Do you think this will fit in here? Oh, wait, it will! It will! The dulcet tones of me singing. Is it called Animal by Fall Out Boy? I'm praying on you tonight. Just like animals. I was at Maroon 5. Why do I always think it's Fall Out Boy? That's terrible. Oh, Chris is going to bed. No, but my architect. Otherwise, my floors will be moving all around. No, that's fair. Go to sleep. Thank you for hanging out. I appreciate it. I hope you sleep well. May you dream of fat house designs. TJ's unhinged. Oh, that man's. I thought I stimmed a ton until I met TJ. I feel like he stims more than me, and that's saying something. Why did that not work? Hello? Okay. Apparently it did, but I'm... This is really hard to do. Well, I'm just... Look at this. Look at this little hack. Look at this little hack, though. You thought... Do you think... You think of this, did you? Look at that. It's the like, tallest. It's the tallest wardrobe. It's the tallest shelving unit in existence. And I also am too lazy to like. Sorry, Maroon 5. I don't know why my brain always goes to Fall Out Boy with that song, and I don't know why. Man, I need help. Oh, I found another. Hang on. I found another wall error. I don't know what's I don't know what the T is with that. I don't know why it did that. I wonder if it's when I rose it up, where I made it taller. I'm praying on you tonight. It's part of why we love him and why you fit. Yeah, see, it's the ADHD. It's the ADHDers, isn't it? Isn't it? There we go. Okay. Hey, look, we're doing not too bad. We're doing not too bad, I feel. We may have to finish this tomorrow. Because I am 100% not streaming as long as I did yesterday. I can't physically do it. Animals, but the opening... What? You mean cursed plankton? You mean this? Oh, I'm praying on you tonight. Just like animals, animals, animals. Oh, this is cute. Oh, I'm praying on you tonight. I'll start laughing like Joe again. Oh, man. If you're not following Half Moon Joe, what are you doing with your life? Mason's mad because I'm half. Hey, look. I'm only human. Ghoulie arrives and I start acting up. I'm praying on you tonight. Who wrote that? Actually, I should know better, like that it wouldn't be Fall Out Boy because of just anyways. I'm praying on you tonight. Na 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 na. Animals, animals. Anyways. Yep. Okay, great. Good talk. I'm crying. Do I want maybe like a... What about something like this for a change? Oh, that's kind of cute. I like that. I actually really like that color. I want to go back to like a goldy... Yeah! Maybe I want to do some like... Yeah, like that. That's cute. Just a normal night. There's nothing... You don't know about that plankton. I'm like, yeah, you do now. Cursed plankton. We're introducing a lot of people to cursed plankton. A lot of people being like 3 to cursed plankton tonight. This is what happens though. The minute I start getting tired and the stream divulges past 4 hours, we're getting close. That's when I start losing it a little bit. is where I personally start losing it. I think this could be really lovely. This looks great. Are you kidding me? Those are really cute. Chat, I kind of live for this bedroom. I want to live here. I saw the Patrick stream. Oh, well. Well, I'd love to say that it's all uphill. Oh, thank you, Holly, for the lurk. I'd like to say it's all uphill from the Patrick stream, but I can't guarantee that, honestly. Oh, this could be cute in here. If I change the wood grain to this. Corner bed, maybe? We could do a corner bed. Oh, the curtains. Can I pull them? I can't pull them up. It's so sad I can't make them longer. Okay, well, that's fine. That's so cute. Listen, we're just maximizing our joint alpha in it. Okay. Okay. Oh, yes. Oh, no. Oh, chat, that's really cute. Oh. And oh. Can I change the sheets to... Oh, that's default. Okay. Oh. 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 Maybe like that? That's cute. Are you kidding me? You know what would go good in here? A plant. I'm gonna be sleeping in like an hour with that sound in my head. I'm so sorry. TJ's pufferfish. Oh, not the pufferfish. Not the pufferfish. Plant mentioned. Plant take. Can you put a plant on there? Hell yeah, you can. Like, you wouldn't, but it's nice to know that the option's there, you know? Oh, this could hit diff in here. It really could. I do love an orchid. Oh my god, stop. Oh. That is... literally, I've been watching Parks and Rec again. That is literally the best orchid I've ever seen. I can't remember the sound it makes, but I've seen the videos. Anyways, I think I might have to continue this tomorrow. Genuinely. I'm looking at the time and I'm like, I really need to finish up. I think I'm going to finish this tomorrow. We're going to go live tomorrow, same time, 12:30 p.m. New Zealand time. We'll keep going on the house, I guess. Yeah, I think we'll keep going. I think I need to try and give myself only a 4-hour stream today. That would be lovely. So we're going to do that. I'll be back tomorrow at 12:30 New Zealand. Still pushing for partner. Rain or shine. So come hang out with us. I'd love to have you. If you enjoyed the stream, don't forget to follow. You can join my Discord here as well. It's where all my scheduling gets updated via the events in there. And I pin you when I go live. Or you can follow me on socials there, if you so please. In the meantime, let's raid someone. Oh my god, Elisa's on! Okay, so Elisa,
Follow.
thank you for the follow. Elisa, I never get to even watch because she goes live literally again, it's kind of like Amber. She goes live literally because she's in Australia. She goes live when I'm in bed or asleep. So she's actually trialing a new stream schedule where she does 2-day streams and 2 night streams. So she's doing another day stream. So I'm going to send you over to her. She's super lovely. She plays a lot of variety, like Tomodachi Life, cozy games. She's played like horror games as well. 9 p.m. bedtime. Thanks, Amy. Thanks for hanging out today, gamers. I'll see y'all tomorrow if I don't have a lovely rest of your time zone. Don't forget to stay hydrated and wear your sunscreen and be good to yourselves. And I will see you in the next one. If not, have a lovely weekend. Goodbye.